Have you ever wondered what it feels like to float among the stars? Tonight, we're taking you on a journey through the cosmos that's so relaxing, you might just drift off to sleep before we reach the edge of the galaxy. From the birth of stars to the mysteries of black holes, our space stories will captivate your imagination while gently lulling you into a peaceful slumber. So get cozy, dim the lights, and prepare for a 2.5-hour adventure that's out of this world. Have you ever wondered about the incredible process of star formation? It's a cosmic spectacle that unfolds over millions of years, and we're about to witness it together. Picture this, a vast expanse of darkness, seemingly empty and quiet. But within this void, something magical is about to happen. We see a massive cloud of gas and dust floating in space. At first glance, it looks peaceful and undisturbed, just drifting along in the cosmic sea. But appearances can be deceiving. This cloud, made up mostly of hydrogen and helium, is about to embark on an incredible journey of transformation. Suddenly, gravity starts to work its magic. It's like an invisible hand, gently pulling the cloud inward. As this happens, we notice swirling patterns forming within the cloud. It's not just collapsing, it's dancing as it does so. The pressure at its core begins to increase, and this is where things get really interesting. As the cloud continues to collapse, something remarkable starts to happen. The temperature begins to rise. At first, it's just a faint glow, barely noticeable against the backdrop of space. But as time passes, that glow gets brighter and brighter. It's like watching a light bulb slowly being turned on, but on a cosmic scale. Now, we need to remember that this process isn't happening overnight. We're talking about millions of years here. The protostar, which is what astronomers call this early stage of star formation, is growing hotter and denser with each passing moment. It's like a cosmic pressure cooker, slowly building up to something amazing. Eventually, after what seems like an eternity, the core of this collapsing cloud reaches a mind-boggling temperature of about 10 million degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to kickstart nuclear fusion, the process that powers stars. It's at this moment that something truly incredible happens. Hydrogen atoms, which have been squeezed together by the immense pressure and heat, start to fuse into helium. This fusion releases an enormous amount of energy. It's like a cosmic fireworks show, but instead of lasting for a few minutes, it goes on for billions of years. With the start of nuclear fusion, we can officially say that a new star has been born. It begins to shine brightly, pushing back against the force of gravity that brought it into existence. This balance between the outward pressure of fusion and the inward pull of gravity is what allows stars to exist in a stable state for so long. As we watch this newly formed star, we can't help but marvel at the fact that it's joining billions of others in our galaxy. Each of these stars has its own unique story, its own journey, from a humble cloud of gas and dust to a brilliant beacon in the night sky. It's fascinating to think about the different types of stars that can form from these clouds. Some might be small and relatively cool, like the red dwarfs that are the most common stars in our galaxy. Others might be massive and incredibly hot, burning through their fuel quickly and living relatively short lives. Our own sun is somewhere in the middle, a yellow dwarf star that's been shining for about 4.6 billion years and is expected to continue doing so for another 5 billion years or so. As we drift away from this cosmic nursery, we can't help but wonder what other celestial wonders await us on our journey through the universe. The birth of a star is just one of the many incredible processes happening in space at any given moment. There are galaxies colliding, black holes devouring matter, and planets forming around newly born stars. As we leave the stellar nursery behind, our cosmic journey brings us to a world of captivating blue. Neptune, the distant ice giant, holds secrets in its azure depths that have puzzled astronomers for decades. What if I told you that the vibrant blue we associate with Neptune isn't quite what it seems? For years, we've marveled at images of Neptune's striking sapphire hue, but recent studies have revealed a surprising twist. It turns out that the deep blue color we've come to know and love was actually a result of our own interpretations and enhancements made by scientists, rather than a direct observation of the planet's true appearance. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the astronomical community and challenged our long-held beliefs about this mysterious world. As we approach Neptune, we can't help but wonder about the true nature of its coloration. The planet's atmosphere is primarily composed of hydrogen and helium, which are colorless gases. So how does Neptune get its iconic blue tint? The answer lies in a trace element that plays a crucial role in the planet's appearance: methane. Methane, though present in small amounts, has a big impact on how we perceive Neptune. This fascinating gas absorbs red light, allowing the blue wavelengths to be reflected back into space. It's like Neptune is wearing a cosmic filter, selectively choosing which colors to show us. But here's the kicker. Observations from advanced telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope and the Very Large Telescope have shown that Neptune's color is actually more muted and varied than we previously thought. As we drift closer to Neptune, we start to notice the dynamic nature of its atmosphere. This isn't just a static blue marble floating in space. It's a world of extreme weather and colossal storms. One of the most impressive features we encounter is the Great Dark Spot, a massive storm system that was first discovered by the Voyager 2 spacecraft back in 1989. The Great Dark Spot is like Neptune's version of Jupiter's Great Red Spot, showcasing just how turbulent this planet's atmosphere can be. We're talking about winds reaching speeds of up to 1,300 meters minimum. That's faster than the speed of sound on Earth. It's hard to imagine what it would be like to experience such ferocious weather, but it certainly adds to the mystique of this distant world. As we continue our exploration, we come across another puzzling feature of Neptune's atmosphere: unusual hotspots where temperatures can reach a scorching 750 Kelvin. That's hot enough to melt lead. Scientists are still scratching their heads over these bizarre regions, with theories suggesting they could be caused by internal processes like auroras or magnetic reconnection. It just goes to show that even after decades of study, Neptune still has plenty of surprises up its sleeve. Our journey around Neptune wouldn't be complete without mentioning its delicate ring system. Composed of a mixture of dust and ice particles, these rings reflect and refract light from the sun, contributing to the overall appearance of the planet. Recently, the James Webb Space Telescope captured the clearest view of Neptune's rings in 30 years, revealing features that hadn't been detected since the Voyager 2 flyby in 1989. It's like Neptune decided to accessorize, adding a touch of icy elegance to its already stunning appearance. As we take in the full view of Neptune, we can't help but marvel at the complexity of this distant world. Its blue color isn't just a simple phenomenon. It's a window into the intricate atmospheric processes and dynamic nature of this ice giant. From the methane-induced blue tint to the raging storms and mysterious hotspots, Neptune is a planet of contrasts and surprises. As we zoom out from Neptune's swirling storms, a vastly different pattern emerges on a cosmic scale. What if I told you that galaxies, instead of being randomly scattered across the universe, actually form an intricate web-like structure that spans billions of light years? This mind-bending reality is exactly what scientists have discovered, and it's changing everything we thought we knew about the layout of the cosmos. When we first start to observe the universe on a grand scale, we might expect to see galaxies randomly distributed throughout space. But as we pull back further and further, a surprising pattern begins to reveal itself. Galaxies aren't just floating around aimlessly. They're actually part of a vast, interconnected network that we now call the cosmic web. This cosmic web isn't just a cool name scientists came up with. It's a pretty accurate description of what we're seeing. Imagine a giant 3D spider web stretching across the entire universe. In this web, the dense clusters of galaxies are like the knots, where multiple strands come together. These clusters are home to hundreds or even thousands of galaxies, all hanging out in relatively close proximity to each other. But what about the spaces between these clusters? That's where things get even more interesting. Connecting these dense galaxy clusters are long, thin filaments of gas and dark matter. These filaments act like cosmic highways, guiding the flow of matter and influencing where new galaxies are born. It's pretty wild to think that even on this unimaginably large scale, there are still structures shaping how the universe develops. And let's not forget about the spaces between the filaments and clusters. These aren't just empty voids, they're an integral part of the cosmic web's structure. These vast, nearly empty regions create a sponge-like appearance when we look at the universe on this grand scale. It's a pattern that repeats itself over and over, from the smallest scales we can observe to the very largest. Now, you might be wondering how this cosmic web came to be. Well, it turns out that this structure has its roots in the early universe. Scientists have run simulations that show how the gravitational influence of dark matter played a crucial role in shaping the cosmic web. Dark matter, which we can't see directly but can detect through its gravitational effects, acted like a scaffolding for the regular matter we can observe. As the universe expanded and cooled after the Big Bang, areas with slightly more dark matter exerted a stronger gravitational pull. This caused more matter to flow towards these regions, eventually forming the dense clusters and filaments we see today. It's like a cosmic game of connect the dots, with dark matter drawing the lines that regular matter would eventually follow. But the cosmic web isn't just a static structure. It's dynamic and continues to evolve over time. Galaxies are constantly moving along these filaments, sometimes colliding and merging with other galaxies they encounter. By observing these movements and interactions, scientists can gain insights into the ongoing processes that shape our universe. The discovery of the cosmic web has some pretty big implications for our understanding of how galaxies form and evolve. Those filaments we talked about earlier, they're not just passive pathways. They play an active role in the birth of new galaxies. The gas and dark matter flowing along these cosmic highways provide the raw materials needed for galaxy formation. This means that the location of a galaxy within the cosmic web can have a significant impact on its properties and evolution. Galaxies that form along the densest filaments or near the intersections of multiple filaments might have access to more resources, potentially growing larger or forming stars more rapidly than galaxies in more isolated regions. The cosmic web also gives us new ways to study some of the biggest mysteries in cosmology, like dark energy. As the universe expands, it affects the distribution of galaxies within the web. By studying how this distribution changes over time, scientists hope to gain new insights into the nature of dark energy and its role in the expansion of the universe. As we shift our gaze from the cosmic web, we find ourselves drawn to a world that's both familiar and utterly alien. Imagine standing on the shores of an ocean larger than Earth's Caspian Sea. But instead of water lapping at your feet, it's liquid methane at a bone-chilling 179 degrees C. This isn't some distant exoplanet. It's right in our cosmic backyard, and it's changing everything we thought we knew about where life might exist. We're approaching Titan, Saturn's largest moon, and as we descend through its thick, hazy atmosphere, we're in for a surprise. Most of us would expect to see a barren, icy world. But what greets us is something entirely different. Titan's surface is dotted with lakes and seas, creating a landscape that's eerily reminiscent of Earth, yet completely foreign at the same time. These aren't the kind of oceans we're used to, though. On Titan, the seas are filled with liquid methane and ethane, existing at temperatures that would freeze water solid in an instant. It's a mind-bending concept, but Titan is actually the only world in our solar system, other than Earth, that we know has stable liquid on its surface. It's like Earth's evil twin, with a methane cycle that mirrors our water cycle in some pretty crazy ways. Let's take a closer look at Titan's largest sea, Kraken Mare. This massive body of liquid methane is bigger than Earth's Caspian Sea, which is already pretty huge. Scientists think Kraken Mare could be over 300 meters deep in some places. That's deep enough to submerge the Eiffel Tower and still have room for a decent-sized skyscraper on top. It's wild to think about the sheer scale of these alien oceans. One of the coolest things about Titan is how its methane cycle works. Just like we have water rain, rivers, and seas on Earth, Titan has all of that, but with methane. Imagine methane rain falling from orange skies, feeding rivers that flow into vast seas of liquid natural gas. It's like Earth's water cycle got transported to some bizarre parallel universe. The Cassini mission gave us a ton of information about Titan's surface and atmosphere, and it's really changed how we think about this moon. We used to see it as just another cold, dead world orbiting Saturn. But now we know it's a dynamic environment with complex interactions between its atmosphere and surface. It's like a whole alien world waiting to be explored. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The presence of all this liquid methane on Titan has got scientists thinking about the potential for life. We're not talking about little green men or anything like that, but the idea that there could be life forms on Titan that are completely different from anything we've ever seen on Earth. It's a long shot, but the conditions on Titan are just weird enough that it might be possible. Titan's atmosphere is super dense and packed with organic compounds. These are the building blocks of life as we know it, but in a completely different environment than what we're used to. It's like nature set up a giant chemistry experiment and left it running for billions of years. We have no idea what kind of life might evolve in those conditions, but it's fun to speculate. Of course, we're still in the realm of speculation when it comes to life on Titan. We don't have any concrete evidence yet. But the fact that we're even considering the possibility shows just how much our understanding of where life can exist has expanded. A few decades ago, the idea of life in a methane sea would have been dismissed as science fiction. Now, it's a serious topic of scientific study. As we leave Titan behind, we're left with a sense of wonder at the diversity of worlds in our solar system. Here's a moon that, in some ways, is more like Earth than any other place we've found. It has rain, rivers, and seas. It has a thick atmosphere. It even has the weather patterns. But all of these familiar processes create an environment that's utterly alien to us. As we drift away from Titan's alien shores, our cosmic journey takes us to a spectacle of truly galactic proportions. We're about to witness a dance that makes our moon look like a wallflower at a cosmic prom. Imagine two spiral galaxies, each as vast as our Milky Way, slowly approaching each other in the depths of space. What unfolds next is a performance that takes millions of years but reshapes the very fabric of the universe. Now, when we think of collisions, we might picture a car crash or two objects smashing together. But galaxy collisions are nothing like that. These cosmic encounters are more like a slow-motion ballet, playing out over millions to billions of years. The galaxies don't just crash and crumple. They pass through each other multiple times before finally merging into a single, larger galaxy. As these galactic giants begin their dance, we see something incredible happening. The immense gravitational forces at play start to distort the shapes of the galaxies. Long tails of stars and gas stretch out into space, creating what scientists call tidal tails. It's like watching two blobs of cosmic silly putty being slowly pulled apart. But here's the thing. Even though we're talking about two entire galaxies colliding, the stars within them rarely actually bump into each other. The spaces between stars are so vast that direct collisions are pretty uncommon. Instead, it's the gas and dust within the galaxies that really get into the action. As the galaxies pass through each other, their clouds of gas and dust start to interact and compress. This cosmic compression triggers something amazing: bursts of star formation. We see brilliant blue regions popping up, each one a hotbed of intense star creation. It's like the galaxies are putting on a fireworks show to celebrate their merger. This cosmic dance isn't a one-and-done deal. The galaxies pass through each other multiple times, each pass bringing them closer to becoming one. With each interaction, more stars are born, more gas is thrown around, and the shapes of the galaxies become more distorted. It's a process that can take billions of years to complete. Now you might be thinking, that's cool and all, but it's happening way out there in space, right? Well, hold on to your telescopes because our own Milky Way is headed for a collision of its own. Scientists have run the numbers, and it turns out we're on a collision course with our nearest galactic neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. But don't start packing your bags for an intergalactic move just yet. This cosmic fender bender isn't scheduled to happen for another 4.5 billion years. When galaxies collide, it's not just the big picture that changes. The fate of individual planets within these galaxies can vary wildly. Some planets might find themselves flung out into the cold emptiness of intergalactic space, while others could end up in completely new orbits around the merged galaxy's center. It's like a giant game of cosmic pinball with planets as the balls. These galactic mergers aren't just about rearranging stars and planets, though. They can also lead to the formation of some of the most powerful objects in the universe: supermassive black holes. As the galaxies merge, their central black holes can combine, releasing enormous amounts of energy in the process. It's like adding rocket fuel to an already intense cosmic event. The collision of galaxies isn't all destruction and chaos, though. These events can trigger a cascade of star formation, with some studies showing that a single merger can produce thousands of new stars over time. It's like the universe's way of turning lemons into lemonade, or in this case, turning colliding galaxies into stellar nurseries. Sometimes these galactic interactions even lead to the birth of entirely new structures. Tidal dwarf galaxies, for example, can form from the gas and stars stripped away during the collision. It's as if the universe is recycling the leftover material to create something new. From cosmic recycling to celestial time capsules, our journey through space takes an unexpected turn. Imagine a vast cloud of icy bodies, so distant that sunlight takes over a year to reach its outer edges. What secrets might this remote region hold about the early days of our solar system? As we venture beyond the familiar planets, we find ourselves at the very edge of our cosmic neighborhood, where a mysterious realm awaits our exploration. We've traveled far beyond Neptune, the last of the gas giants, into what we might expect to be empty space. But the universe has a surprise in store for us. Instead of a void, we encounter a colossal spherical shell of icy objects known as the Oort cloud. This isn't just any cloud. It's a vast collection of frozen remnants from the early solar system, stretching out to mind-boggling distances. The Oort cloud is so enormous that it's hard to comprehend its scale. It's thought to extend from about 2,000 to 100,000 astronomical units from the Sun. To put that in perspective, it reaches almost a quarter of the way to the nearest star. That's an incredibly vast expanse of space filled with trillions of comets and other icy bodies. These comets aren't just frozen balls of ice and rock. They're like time capsules from the birth of our solar system. Each one preserves the conditions and materials from that early era, offering us a glimpse into the past. It's like having a cosmic library of information about our origins, just waiting to be read. One of the most interesting things about the Oort cloud is how loosely its objects are bound to the Sun. They're so far away that the Sun's gravitational pull on them is relatively weak. This means they can be easily disturbed by outside forces. Passing stars or even the gravitational tides of our galaxy can nudge these comets out of their orbits. Sometimes, these disturbances send comets plunging into the inner solar system. These are the long-period comets we sometimes see from Earth. They're like messengers from the outer reaches, bringing us information about the distant parts of our solar system. Each time we observe one of these comets, we're getting a glimpse of the Oort cloud itself. The vastness of the Oort cloud is hard to wrap our heads around. Light, the fastest thing in the universe, takes over a year to travel from the Sun to the outer edges of this cloud. That's an enormous distance, especially when we consider that light from the Sun reaches Earth in just about 8 minutes. Recent studies have given us new insights into how the Oort cloud might have formed. Scientists think it could have come from the leftover material from the early solar system. As the gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn formed, their immense gravitational influence might have pushed these icy bodies outward, to the fringes of our solar system. This idea connects the Oort cloud to the story of our solar system's formation. It's not just a distant, isolated region, but an integral part of our cosmic history. The comets in the Oort cloud are like the final pages of the story of our solar system's birth, preserved in ice at the edges of our neighborhood in space. The Oort cloud also plays a crucial role in our understanding of comets. It's the source of the long-period comets that we observe from Earth. These comets, with their extended orbits that take them deep into the outer solar system, provide us with valuable information. By studying them, we can learn about the conditions that existed when our solar system was young. It's important to note that we've never directly observed the Oort cloud. Its existence has been inferred through the observation of these long-period comets. Scientists have used mathematical models and our understanding of orbital dynamics to piece together the evidence for this distant cloud of the comets. The Oort cloud reminds us that our solar system is much larger and more complex than we often imagine. It extends far beyond the planets, into the cold, dark reaches of interstellar space. This distant realm serves as a bridge between our solar system and the rest of the galaxy, a transitional zone where the Sun's influence gradually gives way to the wider cosmic environment. From the icy depths of the Oort cloud, our cosmic journey takes an unexpected detour into one of the most extreme environments in the universe. We're about to explore a realm where worlds orbit the remnants of dead stars and the very laws of nature seem to bend. It sounds impossible, right? Well, prepare to have your mind blown as we discover the bizarre reality of pulsar planets. As we approach a pulsar, the rapidly rotating remnant of a massive star that exploded as a supernova. It's hard to imagine that anything could survive in its vicinity. The intense radiation and gravitational forces seem too extreme for planetary formation. But the universe has a way of surprising us. And in 1992, astronomers made a groundbreaking discovery that changed our understanding of planetary systems forever. The first confirmed exoplanets ever discovered were found orbiting a pulsar named PSR B1257+12. This discovery was a milestone in our search for worlds beyond our solar system, and it opened up a whole new field of study. These pulsar planets formed from the debris left behind by the supernova explosion that created the pulsar, showing us that planets can indeed exist in the aftermath of such cataclysmic events. Now, you might be wondering what life would be like on these strange worlds. Well, the short answer is that life as we know it would be impossible. The intense radiation emitted by the pulsar bombards these planets, creating environmental conditions that are far too extreme for any life forms we're familiar with. It's a harsh, unforgiving landscape that challenges our imagination. One of the most fascinating aspects of pulsar planets is their orbits. Unlike the slightly elliptical orbits we see in our solar system, the orbits of pulsar planets are nearly circular. This is due to the pulsar's powerful gravitational field, which sculpts their motion in a unique way compared to planets orbiting normal stars. It's like watching a cosmic ballet, with the planets dancing in perfect circles around their bizarre host. Despite the inhospitable conditions on these worlds, their existence provides us with valuable insights into planetary formation and evolution. They challenge our understanding of where and how planets can form, pushing the boundaries of what we consider possible in space. It's like finding a flower growing in the middle of a desert. It makes us question everything we thought we knew about life and its potential habitats. The discovery of pulsar planets has opened up new avenues for research into the potential for life in extreme environments. While current theories suggest that life as we know it wouldn't stand a chance on these worlds, their existence makes us wonder about other forms of life that might be able to thrive in conditions we can barely imagine. It's a reminder that the universe is full of surprises, and we should always keep an open mind when it comes to the possibilities of life beyond Earth. As we continue our journey through this strange system, we can't help but marvel at the resilience of planetary formation. Even in the aftermath of a star's violent death, nature finds a way to create new worlds. It's a testament to the endless creativity of the cosmos, always finding new ways to arrange matter and energy into complex systems. The study of pulsar planets also gives us a unique opportunity to test our theories of planetary formation and evolution in extreme conditions. By observing how these worlds behave and interact with their unusual host star, we can refine our models and gain a deeper understanding of the fundamental processes that shape planetary systems throughout the universe. As we prepare to leave this bizarre system behind, we can't help but wonder what other unlikely places might harbor planets in our vast universe. The discovery of pulsar planets has shown us that we need to broaden our horizons and look for worlds in places we never thought possible. It's a reminder that the universe is far more diverse and complex than we often give it credit for. We've seen some pretty wild stuff in our cosmic journey so far, but get ready for something that's going to blow your mind. Picture this. You're looking at a galaxy cluster, and everything seems normal at first. You see the stars, the swirling gas, and the cosmic dust. But then you notice something weird. The galaxies are moving way too fast. Like, way too fast. Based on what we can see, they should be flying apart, but they're not. It's like there's some invisible force holding everything together. This is where things get really interesting. Scientists have figured out that there's this thing called dark matter, and it's basically the universe's biggest secret. It's invisible, it doesn't give off any light, and we can't touch it or feel it. But here's the kicker. It makes up about 85% of all the matter in the universe. That's right, most of the stuff in the cosmos is completely invisible to us. Now, you might be wondering how we even know dark matter exists if we can't see it. Well, it all comes down to gravity. Dark matter interacts with regular matter through gravity, and that's how we can tell it's there. It's like seeing footprints in the sand, but not being able to see who made them. The way galaxies move and the way light bends around massive objects all point to the existence of this invisible stuff. But dark matter isn't just hanging out doing nothing. It's actually super important for the structure of the universe. Think of it like an invisible scaffolding that shapes everything we see. It forms this huge cosmic web that guides how galaxies form and evolve. Without dark matter, the universe as we know it wouldn't exist. Our own Milky Way galaxy is probably surrounded by a giant halo of dark matter that we can't see. The crazy thing is, even though dark matter is so abundant, it's incredibly hard to detect. Scientists have been trying to find it for years, but it's like trying to catch a ghost. They've come up with all sorts of ideas about what dark matter could be made of. Some think it might be these particles called WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles, while others are looking at things called axions. But so far, we haven't been able to pin it down. This mystery has led to some pretty cool experiments. There are detectors deep underground trying to catch a glimpse of dark matter particles. Some scientists are even looking for signs of dark matter in space, hoping to catch it interacting with regular matter. It's like a cosmic game of hide and seek, but on a universal scale. The search for dark matter isn't just about satisfying our curiosity. Understanding it could help us figure out some big questions about the universe. Like, how did galaxies form in the first place? Why does the universe look the way it does? And what's going to happen to it in the future? Dark matter plays a role in all of these questions. It's pretty mind-boggling to think that most of the universe is made up of something we can't see or touch. It really makes you wonder what else might be out there that we don't know about yet. The universe is constantly surprising us, and dark matter is just one example of how weird and wonderful it can be. As we think about this invisible cosmic scaffolding, it's hard not to feel a sense of awe. We're surrounded by this mysterious substance that shapes the very structure of the cosmos, yet we can't see it or interact with it directly. It's a reminder of how much we still have to learn about the universe. From the invisible mysteries shaping our universe, we now turn our gaze to something equally fascinating but slightly more tangible. Imagine being able to peek into the atmospheres of distant worlds without ever leaving Earth. It sounds like science fiction, but it's happening right now. Scientists have figured out a way to study the air on planets we can't even see. It's like trying to guess what's inside a wrapped present just by looking at the wrapping paper. How is this even possible? And what have we discovered about these alien atmospheres so far? The key to unlocking this cosmic mystery lies in a technique called transmission spectroscopy. This is where things get really cool. When a planet passes in front of its star, some of the starlight filters through the planet's atmosphere. By analyzing this light, scientists can determine what gases are present in the planet's sky. It's like the planet is holding up a giant fingerprint for us to examine from billions of miles away. The James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST for short, is the new superstar in this field. This incredible piece of technology is designed specifically to study exoplanet atmospheres using transmission spectroscopy. It's like giving scientists a superpowered magnifying glass to examine these distant worlds. With JWST, we're not just looking at blurry shapes anymore, we're starting to see the details. So, what have we found so far? Well, it turns out that exoplanet atmospheres are pretty wild. We've seen everything from hot Jupiters with atmospheres full of hydrogen and helium to super-Earths that might have water vapor in their skies. But the really exciting stuff is the discovery of molecules that could hint at the possibility of life. Some exoplanet atmospheres have been found to contain significant amounts of methane and carbon dioxide. These gases are super important because they're some of the key ingredients we look for when trying to figure out if a planet might be habitable. It's not proof of life by any means, but it's definitely got scientists buzzing with excitement. But JWST isn't working alone in this cosmic detective story. There's another space telescope called TESS, or the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, that's been busy since 2018 looking for new exoplanets to study. TESS is like the Scout, finding promising targets for JWST to examine more closely. Together, they're revealing a whole bunch of new worlds for us to explore from afar. And the future of exoplanet atmosphere studies is looking even brighter. There's a massive telescope being built called the Extremely Large Telescope, or ELT. When it's finished, it'll be the world's largest optical telescope. This behemoth will be able to directly image exoplanets and study their atmospheres in incredible detail. It's like we're leveling up our cosmic binoculars. But wait, there's more. Scientists are already planning even more advanced missions for the future. Two potential projects called HabEx and LUVOIR aim to take things to the next level. These missions could potentially reveal biosignatures in exoplanet atmospheres. Biosignatures are like cosmic clues that might indicate the presence of life. It's mind-blowing to think that we might be on the verge of detecting signs of life on worlds light years away. All of this research into exoplanet atmospheres is crucial for understanding the conditions necessary for life. Every new discovery gives us more insight into the chemical makeup and potential habitability of these distant worlds. It's like we're slowly piecing together a cosmic puzzle, trying to figure out if we're alone in the universe or if there are other worlds out there teeming with life. As we continue to study these alien skies, each new discovery brings us closer to answering some of the biggest questions we've ever asked. Are there other Earth-like planets out there? Could they support life as we know it? Or might we find forms of life so alien we can barely imagine them? The atmospheres of these distant worlds hold the keys to these mysteries, and we're just beginning to unlock them. From the mind-bending atmospheres of distant planets, we now turn our attention to something even more extreme. Imagine an object so dense that a teaspoon of its material would weigh more than all the skyscrapers in New York City combined. This isn't science fiction, it's the bizarre reality of neutron stars, where the laws of physics are pushed to their absolute limits. As we approach the remnant of a massive star that has exploded as a supernova, we expect to find empty space. But instead, we encounter something truly extraordinary: a neutron star. These cosmic oddities are the result of a star's dramatic end, where it collapses under its own gravity to form an object that's mind-bogglingly dense. We're talking about something that's only about 20 kilometers in diameter, but has a mass approximately 1.4 times that of our Sun. It's like squeezing the entire mass of our Sun into a sphere the size of a small city. The gravity of a neutron star is so intense that it does something we can barely wrap our heads around. It crushes protons and electrons together, forming what scientists call a sea of neutrons. This is a state of matter that we can't recreate on Earth, and it's what gives neutron stars their incredible density. We're talking about an object so dense that if you could somehow scoop up a teaspoonful of its material, it would weigh billions of tons. It's hard to even imagine what that would feel like. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. As we get closer to the neutron star, we notice something surprising about its surface. Unlike the chaotic, bumpy surfaces of planets or regular stars, a neutron star's surface is incredibly smooth. The irregularities on its surface measure less than a millimeter. It's like nature's version of a perfectly polished marble, except this marble could crush you into oblivion before you even touched it. Some neutron stars, called pulsars, take the cosmic weirdness to a whole new level. These stellar remnants rotate incredibly fast, with some spinning hundreds of times per second. It's hard to imagine something the mass of our Sun spinning that quickly, but that's exactly what's happening. This rapid rotation is a result of the conservation of angular momentum as the star collapses. It's like when a figure skater pulls in their arms to spin faster, except on a cosmic scale. As if neutron stars weren't extreme enough already, they also possess the strongest magnetic fields known in the universe. We're talking about magnetic fields that are trillions of times stronger than Earth's. These incredibly powerful magnetic fields can influence the behavior of surrounding matter and radiation in ways that we're still trying to understand. It's like they're creating their own little bubble of altered physics in space. All of these extreme conditions make neutron stars natural laboratories for testing the laws of physics under conditions that we could never hope to recreate on Earth. Scientists are using observations of neutron stars to probe fundamental questions about matter and energy. They're looking at things like the rotation rates and magnetic fields of these cosmic oddities to understand how matter behaves in these extreme environments. Neutron stars are also being used to test theories in physics, particularly in the realms of general relativity and quantum mechanics. The extreme conditions present in and around neutron stars challenge our existing models and assumptions about how the universe works. It's like nature has provided us with the ultimate physics playground, where we can see how our theories hold up under the most extreme conditions imaginable. Recent studies have been focusing on the properties of neutron stars, trying to unravel the mysteries of these cosmic oddities. Scientists are looking at everything from their internal structure to the way they interact with their surroundings. Each new discovery brings us closer to understanding not just neutron stars, but the fundamental nature of matter itself. As we leave behind the extreme environment of neutron stars, we encounter something equally perplexing in the vast emptiness of space. Imagine a world without a sun, eternally cloaked in darkness, yet potentially teeming with hidden life. These are rogue planets, and they might just outnumber the stars in our galaxy. But what strange conditions exist on these wandering worlds, and how do they survive their lonely journey through the cosmos? Rogue planets, also known as free-floating planets, are cosmic oddities that challenge our understanding of planetary systems. These are planets that have been ejected from their original solar systems, left to drift alone through the vastness of space. It's a pretty wild concept when you think about it. Planets without a star to orbit, just floating through the darkness between solar systems. What's even more mind-boggling is the sheer number of these lonely wanderers that might be out there. Scientists estimate that there could be billions of rogue planets drifting through our galaxy. That's right, billions. To put that into perspective, there might actually be more of these solitary worlds than there are stars in the Milky Way. It's like our galaxy is filled with these cosmic castaways, silently moving through the void. Now, you might be thinking that a planet without a star would be a pretty inhospitable place, right? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Some of these rogue planets might not be as cold and lifeless as you'd expect. In fact, they could be harboring some pretty exciting secrets beneath their surfaces. You see, some rogue planets might still retain heat from their formation or from radioactive decay deep within their cores. This internal heat could potentially create subsurface oceans, hidden away beneath thick layers of ice. And where there's water, there's the potential for life. It's a tantalizing possibility that opens up whole new avenues for the search for extraterrestrial life. Of course, life on a rogue planet would be very different from what we're used to on Earth. Without a star to provide light and energy, the surface of these planets would be in a state of eternal night. It would be cold and dark, more like the depths of our oceans than anything we experience on the surface of our own world. But here's where it gets really exciting. Despite these harsh surface conditions, there's a chance that microbial life could find a way to survive in the warm, protected environments beneath the surface. We're talking about life forms that might be entirely different from anything we've ever encountered before, adapted to survive in conditions we can barely imagine. The existence of rogue planets raises some pretty mind-bending questions about how planets form and evolve. We used to think that all planets were bound to their stars, but these cosmic wanderers suggest that the story of planetary formation is a lot more complex and chaotic than we once believed. It's like the universe is constantly throwing curveballs at us, challenging our assumptions and forcing us to rethink what we know about the cosmos. Studying these elusive worlds isn't easy, though. Without a star to orbit, rogue planets are incredibly difficult to detect. They don't reflect light like planets in our solar system do, and they don't have a convenient star to help us spot them. But astronomers are nothing if not resourceful, and they're developing new methods to track down these cosmic loners. One way scientists are looking for rogue planets is by studying their gravitational effects on nearby objects. It's like trying to spot an invisible elephant by watching how it pushes through a crowd. You can't see the elephant itself, but you can see its impact on its surroundings. As our technology and methods improve, we're likely to discover more and more of these fascinating worlds. The study of rogue planets is still in its early stages, but it's already challenging our understanding of what makes a planet and where life might be able to exist in the universe. These lonely wanderers of the cosmos remind us that the universe is full of surprises, and that life might find a way to thrive in even the most unexpected places. As we leave behind the lonely wanderers of space, we're about to enter a realm where stars are born in cosmic forges of unimaginable scale. Stellar nurseries, also known as molecular clouds, are the birthplaces of stars, and they're far more chaotic and dynamic than you might expect. These vast clouds of gas and dust might seem peaceful at first glance, but they're actually teeming with activity and new life. When we approach a stellar nursery, we see a massive expanse of gas and dust stretching out before us. But what's really interesting is what's happening inside these clouds. Regions within the molecular cloud start to become denser as gravity takes over, and this is where the magic begins. These denser areas are the seeds of future stars, and they're called protostars. Now, you might think that stars just pop into existence, but it's actually a really long process. These protostars take millions of years to form, and during that time, they're constantly growing and changing. As they accumulate more material, they get hotter and denser. It's like watching a cosmic snowball effect, but instead of snow, it's gas and dust. And instead of a hill, it's the vastness of space. One of the coolest things we see in stellar nurseries are the jets of material shooting out from some of these protostars. These jets are like cosmic fireworks, signaling that star formation is in full swing. But they're not just pretty to look at. They actually play a crucial role in the star formation process. These jets can trigger the formation of even more stars in the surrounding area, creating a kind of stellar chain reaction. Now, you might be wondering what causes all this activity in the first place. Well, it turns out that turbulence within the molecular cloud plays a big part. This turbulence can be caused by all sorts of things, like shock waves from nearby supernovae. These external forces shake up the gas and dust, creating areas of varying density. It's in these denser regions where gravity can take over and start the process of star formation. As we continue to observe the stellar nursery, we notice something really interesting around some of the newly formed stars. There are disks of gas and dust orbiting them, and these aren't just leftover material from the star formation process. These disks are actually the beginnings of new planetary systems. It's mind-blowing to think that we're watching the very first stages of solar systems like our own coming into existence. But not all parts of the stellar nursery are gentle cradles for baby stars. The largest newborn stars in the nursery are real troublemakers. They emit intense radiation that sculpts the surrounding gas and dust, creating some truly spectacular structures. One of the most famous examples of this is the Pillars of Creation in the Orion Nebula. These towering columns of gas and dust are being shaped by the powerful light of nearby massive stars, creating a cosmic landscape that's both beautiful and awe-inspiring. Studying these stellar nurseries is super important for understanding how our universe works. They give us insights into the life cycle of stars and how galaxies evolve over time. We're lucky to be living in an age where we have incredible tools to observe these cosmic cradles. Telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope are giving us new views of these dynamic environments, helping us unravel the mysteries of star birth. One of the most exciting things about stellar nurseries is that they show us that the universe is constantly renewing itself. Stars are being born all the time, adding fresh light and energy to our galaxy. It's a reminder that the cosmos is not static, but a place of ongoing creation and change. We've seen stars being born and galaxies colliding, but there's another cosmic phenomenon that's completely invisible to our eyes. Imagine being able to hear the universe in a way we never could before. That's exactly what gravitational waves allow us to do, and their discovery is changing everything we thought we knew about space. Picture two massive black holes orbiting each other in the depths of space. At first glance, you might think they're silent objects just spinning around each other in the darkness. But these cosmic giants are actually creating ripples in the very fabric of space-time itself. These ripples, known as gravitational waves, are like cosmic messages traveling across the universe at the speed of light. Now, you might be wondering how we can possibly detect something so faint that it's literally bending the fabric of space. When these waves reach Earth, they change distances by less than the width of an atomic nucleus. That's incredibly tiny. But scientists are a clever bunch, and they've developed some seriously impressive technology to catch these elusive waves. Enter LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. This incredible piece of equipment is so sensitive it can detect these minute changes in space-time. It's like having a cosmic ear pressed against the universe, listening for the faintest whispers from the most violent events imaginable. The first detection of gravitational waves happened in 2015, and it was a huge deal in the world of astrophysics. This breakthrough opened up a whole new way of observing the universe. Before, we were limited to what we could see with light or other forms of electromagnetic radiation. Now, we can actually hear events that were previously invisible to us. So what kind of cosmic events are we talking about here? Well, some of the most exciting sources of gravitational waves are colliding black holes and neutron stars. These massive objects spiral around each other, getting closer and closer, generating stronger and stronger waves. It's like they're doing a cosmic dance, sending out ripples in space-time as they go. Each detection of gravitational waves gives scientists a treasure trove of information. They can figure out things like the masses and spins of these cosmic objects. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. We're getting detailed information about some of the most extreme objects in the universe, all from these tiny ripples in space-time. But the excitement doesn't stop there. Scientists are already planning for the future of gravitational wave astronomy. They're working on space-based detectors that could pick up an even wider range of gravitational waves. This could potentially let us study even more types of cosmic events and sources. One of the coolest things about gravitational waves is that they confirm predictions made by Einstein's general theory of relativity. Einstein was talking about these waves way back in 1916, and now we're actually detecting them. It just goes to show how far ahead of his time Einstein really was. Gravitational waves are giving us a unique opportunity to explore some of the most violent events in the universe. We're talking about things like black holes merging or neutron stars colliding. These are events that we could never see directly with traditional telescopes. But now, thanks to gravitational waves, we can study them in incredible detail. This new field of gravitational wave astronomy is potentially leading to new discoveries about the fundamental nature of gravity and the cosmos. We're just at the beginning of this journey, and who knows what we might find as we continue to listen to these cosmic whispers. Just when you thought the universe couldn't get any more extreme, it throws us another curveball. Picture a cosmic object with a magnetic field trillions of times stronger than Earth's. These rare and mysterious magnetars are like the universe's ultimate physics experiment, and we're only beginning to unravel their secrets. As we venture closer to what appears to be an ordinary neutron star, expecting the usual extreme density and rapid rotation, we're in for a shock. This is no run-of-the-mill neutron star. It's a magnetar, and it's about to blow our minds with its incredible power. The magnetic field of a magnetar is so intense that it can actually affect the very structure of atoms in its vicinity. It's like the magnetar is rewriting the rules of physics on a fundamental level. This isn't just some cool space fact. It's a phenomenon that pushes our understanding of the universe to its limits. Scientists are still trying to wrap their heads around how these cosmic supermagnets work and what they can teach us about the nature of matter and energy. One of the most mind-blowing things about magnetars is their ability to produce enormous bursts of energy. These aren't just your average stellar flares. We're talking about explosions that can briefly outshine all other sources of X-rays in the sky combined. It's like the magnetar is throwing a cosmic fireworks show that puts everything else to shame. And get this, these bursts are so powerful that we can detect them even from other galaxies, millions of light years away. It's pretty wild to think that we can observe something happening in a completely different galaxy, all thanks to the sheer power of these magnetars. Now, you might be wondering where these incredibly strong magnetic fields come from. Well, that's the thing. Scientists aren't entirely sure. It's one of those cosmic mysteries that keeps astronomers up at night, literally, since they're often working during nighttime hours. One theory suggests that the rapid rotation of these stars at birth might play a significant role. Imagine a cosmic ballet where a star spins faster and faster, somehow cranking up its magnetic field to unimaginable levels. It's a compelling idea, but there's still a lot of work to be done to fully understand the origin of these powerhouse magnetic fields. Despite their immense power, magnetars are actually pretty rare. Scientists have only identified about 30 of them in our entire galaxy so far. That's not a lot when you consider that our Milky Way is home to hundreds of billions of stars. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is the size of an entire galaxy. This rarity makes each magnetar discovery even more exciting for astronomers. Every new magnetar we find is another chance to study these extreme objects and learn more about the limits of physics. The study of magnetars isn't just about satisfying our curiosity about weird space stuff, although that's definitely part of it. These cosmic supermagnets actually have a lot to teach us about the fundamental nature of our universe. They show us that the universe can create magnetic fields far more powerful than anything we can generate on Earth. This knowledge pushes the boundaries of our understanding of physics and challenges us to think bigger about what's possible in the cosmos. Magnetars also give us a unique window into the behavior of matter under extreme conditions. The intense magnetic fields around these stars can lead to all sorts of bizarre phenomena, like magnetar bursts. These are brief but incredibly intense emissions of X-rays and gamma rays that can have far-reaching effects. Recent studies have shown that these bursts can actually impact the space surrounding the magnetar, influencing the behavior of nearby matter and radiation. It's like the magnetar is reaching out and shaping its environment in ways we're only beginning to understand. As we leave this cosmic supermagnet behind, we can't help but wonder what other extreme objects might be lurking in the depths of space. Magnetars have shown us that the universe is capable of creating conditions far more extreme than we ever imagined. They've expanded our understanding of what's possible and opened up new avenues of research in astrophysics. Who knows what other cosmic oddities are out there, just waiting to be discovered? As we drift away from the intense magnetars, we enter a region of space that seems eerily quiet and empty. But appearances can be deceiving. These vast cosmic voids, spanning hundreds of millions of light years, are actually hiding some of the universe's biggest secrets. We're about to discover that what looks like nothing might actually show us everything about the structure of our cosmos. At first glance, these voids seem completely devoid of galaxies. It's like floating through an endless ocean of darkness with no sign of life or light. But as we look closer, we start to see that these cosmic deserts aren't as barren as we thought. There's actually a sparse population of galaxies scattered throughout these voids, like tiny oases in a vast emptiness. What's really interesting is that the galaxies we find in these voids are different from the ones we're used to seeing in denser regions of space. They tend to be smaller and bluer, which gives us some fascinating insights into how galaxies evolve. It's like these void galaxies are developing in their own unique way, isolated from the crowded neighborhoods where most galaxies hang out. But the real mind-bender comes when we start to think about what's filling up all that seemingly empty space. It turns out that these voids are packed with dark matter. We can't see it or touch it, but it's there, playing a crucial role in shaping the overall structure of the universe. It's like an invisible scaffolding that holds everything together. Now, you might be wondering why we should care about these enormous empty spaces. Well, it turns out that studying these voids is actually super important for understanding some of the biggest mysteries in the universe. One of the coolest things about cosmic voids is that they're expanding, and that expansion is driven by dark energy. By studying how these voids grow over time, scientists can learn more about this mysterious force that's causing the entire universe to expand faster and faster. But wait, there's more. These voids aren't just passive players in the cosmic drama. They're actually influencing how galaxies form and evolve over time. The gravitational effects of the dark matter within these voids can affect how galaxies cluster together and change over billions of years. It's like the voids are secretly pulling the strings, shaping the cosmic web of galaxies that we see spread out across the universe. And get this, these cosmic voids even act like giant lenses. Their emptiness can bend light from distant objects that lie behind them, giving us a warped view of the universe. But this distortion is actually super useful for scientists. By studying how light gets bent as it passes through these voids, researchers can learn more about the distribution of matter in the universe and test their cosmological models. It's pretty wild to think that these seemingly empty spaces are so important for our understanding of the cosmos. They're like cosmic laboratories where scientists can observe the effects of dark energy and study the large-scale structure of the universe in ways that just aren't possible in more crowded regions of space. As we continue to explore these vast voids, we're constantly discovering new surprises. Recent studies have shown that voids aren't just empty spaces between galaxy clusters. They're essential for understanding how the universe is put together. They're helping us piece together the puzzle of how galaxies form, how dark matter is distributed, and how the universe has evolved over billions of years. As we continue our cosmic journey, a dazzling point of light catches our attention from the farthest reaches of the observable universe. This isn't just any celestial body we've encountered so far. It's something far more extraordinary. Imagine a single object so incredibly bright that it outshines entire galaxies, piercing through billions of light years of space to reach our eyes. What could possibly produce such an intense luminosity? We're about to discover one of the most fascinating phenomena in the cosmos: quasars. Quasars are truly mind-bending objects, and they're about to challenge everything we thought we knew about the early universe. These cosmic beacons are among the most luminous and energetic objects known to exist, powered by something we've only recently begun to understand: supermassive black holes at the centers of young galaxies. It's almost hard to wrap our heads around the idea that a single point in space could generate so much energy, but that's exactly what quasars do. The secret to a quasar's incredible brightness lies in the intense activity surrounding its central black hole. As matter falls into this cosmic abyss, it forms a swirling disk of superheated gas and dust. This material becomes incredibly hot and energetic as it's compressed and accelerated, releasing an enormous amount of radiation across the electromagnetic spectrum. The result is a beacon of light so powerful that we can detect it from unimaginable distances. One of the most fascinating aspects of quasars is that they give us a unique window into the early universe. The light we see from these distant objects has been traveling for billions of years, carrying information about the conditions that existed when the universe was much younger. It's like having a time machine that allows us to peer back into cosmic history and witness the birth and evolution of galaxies. Interestingly, quasars were much more common in the early universe than they are today. This tells us something important about how galaxies have changed over time. In the cosmic past, galaxies were younger and had much more gas available to fuel their central black holes. This abundance of fuel led to more intense activity and the creation of these brilliant quasars. As the universe aged and galaxies matured, the supply of gas gradually diminished, leading to a decrease in quasar activity. The study of quasars has revealed some surprising insights into galaxy evolution. These cosmic powerhouses play a crucial role in shaping their host galaxies. The intense radiation and powerful outflows from quasars can actually regulate star formation within their galaxies. It's a bit like cosmic feedback. The quasar's activity can both trigger star formation in some regions while suppressing it in others, influencing the overall structure and development of the galaxy. One of the most mind-boggling aspects of quasars is just how bright they can be. Some quasars are so luminous that they actually outshine their entire host galaxy. This presents an interesting challenge for astronomers. When we observe these ultra-bright quasars, the galaxy itself can be difficult or even impossible to see, hidden by the overwhelming glare of its central engine. It's like trying to see a firefly next to a searchlight. The smaller light gets lost in the glare. As we've studied quasars over the years, they've continued to surprise us with new revelations. Recent observations have provided fresh insights into how supermassive black holes form and grow, as well as the environments in which they exist. Each new discovery helps us piece together the puzzle of how the universe has evolved over cosmic time. Quasars serve as more than just interesting objects to study. They're cosmic lighthouses that illuminate the distant past of our universe. By observing quasars at different distances, astronomers can map out the evolution of galaxies and the growth of supermassive black holes across cosmic history. It's like having signposts scattered throughout time and space, each one telling us a little bit more about how our universe came to be the way it is today. As we continue our cosmic journey, we encounter a mysterious glow that permeates the entire universe. Imagine tuning your radio to a station between channels, expecting to hear random static. But instead of noise, you pick up a faint, steady hum coming from every direction. This is essentially what happened when scientists first discovered the cosmic microwave background, or CMB for short. It's like the universe has been broadcasting a secret message since the dawn of time, and we've finally learned how to listen. The cosmic microwave background is pretty much the oldest light we can observe in the universe. It's been traveling for billions of years, carrying information from a time when the universe was just a baby. We're talking about light that was released when the universe was only about 380,000 years old. That might sound like a long time, but in cosmic terms, it's like looking at a picture of the universe when it was just learning to crawl. One of the coolest things about the CMB is how uniform it is. When scientists measure its temperature across the sky, they find it's incredibly consistent. We're talking about variations of only about 1 part in 100,000. That's like if you measured the temperature in every room of your house and found they were all within a fraction of a degree of each other. This uniformity tells us a lot about what the early universe was like. It was incredibly smooth and evenly distributed. But here's where it gets really interesting. Those tiny temperature variations, small as they are, contain a treasure trove of information about the early universe. It's like looking at a pond with tiny ripples on the surface. Those ripples can tell you about the things that disturbed the water, even if you can't see them directly. In the same way, the slight variations in the CMB give scientists clues about the composition and structure of the early universe. Now, you might be wondering how something from the early universe could still be detectable today. After all, the universe was incredibly hot back then. The answer lies in the expansion of the universe. As space itself has stretched over billions of years, it's cooled that initial burst of radiation. Today, the CMB has a temperature of about 2.7 Kelvin, which is incredibly cold. We're talking 270.45 degrees Celsius. It's pretty wild to think that this faint, chilly glow is actually the cooled-off remnant of the intense heat from the Big Bang. Studying the cosmic microwave background has revolutionized our understanding of the universe. It's like we've been handed a cosmic history book, and we're learning to read it. Scientists have used the CMB to figure out the age of the universe with incredible precision. They've also learned about its composition, how much regular matter, and dark energy it contains. Even the overall shape or geometry of the universe can be inferred from this ancient light. The CMB has become one of the most important tools in cosmology. It's like having a time machine that lets us peek back to the very beginning of everything. Every new observation and study of the CMB refines our understanding of how the universe began and evolved. It's helping us answer some of the biggest questions in science. How did the universe start? How did galaxies form? What is the universe made of? In a way, the cosmic microwave background is like a baby picture of the universe. Just like how you can look at a photo of yourself as a baby and see hints of the person you'd become, scientists can look at the CMB and see the seeds of the cosmic structures we observe today. It shows us a time before there were any stars or galaxies, when the universe was just starting to take shape. As we leave behind the infant universe, we encounter something that challenges our very notion of emptiness. What if the vast expanses between stars, seemingly devoid of anything, are actually filled with a complex brew that's crucial to the life and death of stars? Welcome to the interstellar medium, the cosmic playground where galaxies evolve. When we think of space, we often imagine a vast emptiness punctuated by stars and planets. But the truth is, there's a lot more going on in those seemingly empty spaces than meets the eye. Then the interstellar medium, or ISM for short, is a tenuous mix of gas and dust that fills the vast spaces between stars. It's like a cosmic ocean, but instead of water, it's filled with a variety of materials that play a crucial role in the life cycle of stars and the evolution of galaxies. Now, you might be thinking, how can something so sparse be important? Well, it turns out that the ISM is incredibly diverse. It's not just one uniform substance, but a range of different phases. You've got hot, diffuse plasma on one end, and on the other, you've got cold, dense molecular clouds. These molecular clouds are especially interesting because they're where new stars are born. It's like they're the nurseries of the cosmos. The ISM isn't just sitting there doing nothing either. It's constantly interacting with stars in a cosmic give and take. Stars form from the material in the ISM, and then later in their lives, they give back to it through stellar winds and supernovae. This process enriches the ISM with heavy elements, which then become part of the next generation of stars. It's a beautiful cycle that keeps the galaxy evolving and changing over time. One of the most fascinating things about the ISM is the dust it contains. Now, when we say dust, we're not talking about the stuff you might find under your bed. This is cosmic dust, and even though it only makes up a small fraction of the ISM by mass, it has a huge impact on how we see the universe. This dust absorbs and scatters starlight, which actually shapes the appearance of entire galaxies. It's kind of like a cosmic Instagram filter, changing how we perceive the light from distant stars and galaxies. But wait, there's more. Scientists have recently detected complex organic molecules in the ISM. This is huge because it raises some really interesting questions about the origins of life's building blocks. Could the ingredients for life be floating around in space, just waiting to come together under the right conditions? It's a mind-blowing thought that opens up all sorts of possibilities about life in the universe. The ISM isn't just sitting still either. It's constantly in motion, driven by all sorts of cosmic forces. You've got stellar winds pushing it around, supernova explosions sending shockwaves through it, and even the large-scale rotation of galaxies influencing its movement. It's a dynamic environment that's always changing and evolving. Studying the ISM isn't easy, but scientists have some pretty cool tools at their disposal. They use various wavelengths of light to observe different aspects of the ISM. This allows them to detect things like molecular clouds and study star formation processes. It's like having different pairs of glasses that let you see different parts of the cosmic ocean. The interaction between the ISM and stellar phenomena is super important for understanding how galaxies evolve. It influences things like star formation rates and how galaxies get enriched with different chemical elements over time. It's like the ISM is the medium through which galaxies grow and change, shaping their structure and composition over billions of years. As we observe the vast expanse of space, we encounter a large spiral galaxy that seems peaceful and undisturbed in the cosmic night. But appearances can be deceiving in the universe, and this serene scene hides a violent history of cosmic cannibalism. When we look closer, we see streams of stars and distorted shapes that hint at a turbulent past where this galaxy has been consuming its smaller neighbors. This process, known as galactic cannibalism, occurs when a larger galaxy's gravitational pull tears apart and absorbs a smaller galaxy. It's not just a cosmic accident, but a fundamental process that shapes the evolution of galaxies and the universe itself. We see this happening all around us, and even our own Milky Way isn't innocent in this cosmic feast. In fact, our galaxy has quite the appetite. The Milky Way has cannibalized several smaller galaxies over its lifetime, and we can still see the evidence of these cosmic meals. If we look carefully, we can spot remnants of these smaller galaxies in what astronomers call stellar streams. These streams are like cosmic breadcrumbs, tracing the path of destruction as smaller galaxies were torn apart and absorbed into our own. But here's the thing about galactic cannibalism. It's not just a destructive process. In a way, it's also creative. When a large galaxy consumes a smaller one, it doesn't just add stars to its collection. The process can actually trigger bursts of star formation. As the gas from the consumed galaxy gets compressed, it creates the perfect conditions for new stars to be born. So in a way, the death of one galaxy leads to the birth of new stars in another. The stars from the consumed galaxy don't just disappear either. They become part of the larger galaxy, often forming a halo of older stars around it. This changes the distribution of stars within the galaxy, altering its structure and composition. It's like the larger galaxy is putting on a new cosmic outfit, made from the stars of its former neighbors. But it's not just the stars that get in on this cosmic dance. Even the supermassive black holes at the centers of galaxies can merge during these events. When this happens, it releases an enormous amount of energy. We're talking about some of the most energetic events in the universe here. These mergers can shake the very fabric of space-time, sending out gravitational waves that ripple across the cosmos. Recent studies have shown that galactic cannibalism plays a crucial role in more than just the visible parts of galaxies. It also influences the distribution of dark matter, that mysterious substance that makes up most of the matter in the universe. The gravitational interactions during these cosmic feasts can reshape the dark matter. Halos that surround galaxies, changing their structure in ways we're only beginning to understand. We can see evidence of these past mergers right in our own cosmic backyard. Astronomers have discovered stellar streams in the Milky Way, which are like cosmic fossils, providing a historical record of our galaxy's growth. These streams tell the story of smaller galaxies that have been absorbed, their stars now part of our galactic family. And this process isn't just ancient history. Ongoing observations reveal that many galaxies are currently in the process of merging. This highlights the dynamic nature of galaxy evolution. The universe isn't static, it's constantly changing. with galaxies growing and evolving through these cosmic collisions. Galactic cannibalism shows us that galaxies are not isolated islands floating serenely in space. They're dynamic systems that grow and evolve through cosmic collisions. It's a process that's been happening since the early days of the universe and continues to shape the cosmos we see today. Imagine a world where the night sky suddenly became alive with a new kind of star, one that we had put there ourselves. That's exactly what happened on October 4, 1957, when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1 into orbit. This wasn't just any satellite, it was the first human-made object to ever orbit our planet, and it changed everything. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal about a little metal ball floating in space? Well, let me tell you, this little ball was about to shake up the entire world. You see, back in 1957, the world was deep in the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were constantly trying to outdo each other in everything from politics to science. But the Soviets had a secret plan up their sleeve, and they were about to pull off something that would leave the Americans stunned. Sputnik 1 wasn't much to look at by today's standards. It was roughly the size of a beach ball and weighed less than your average teenager. But what it could do was absolutely mind-blowing for its time. This little satellite could send radio signals back to Earth. Can you imagine how incredible it must have been to hear those beeps coming from space for the very first time? One amateur radio operator who heard Sputnik's signals said, "It was a thrilling moment to hear the beeping from space. It felt like we were finally connected to the universe in a way we had never been before." And he wasn't alone in feeling this way. People all over the world were tuning in, trying to catch those otherworldly beeps. It was like we suddenly had a direct line to the cosmos. The launch of Sputnik 1 caught the United States completely off guard. They had been so confident in their technological superiority, but now here was this Soviet satellite circling the Earth, broadcasting its presence for all to hear. It was a wake-up call that echoed around the world. This surprise led to some big changes in the United States. The government realized they needed to step up their game in space technology, and fast. They created a whole new agency called NASA, just to make sure they wouldn't fall behind in the space race again. They also started pumping more money into science education, hoping to inspire a new generation of rocket scientists and astronauts. But Sputnik 1 wasn't just about competition between superpowers. It marked the beginning of a new era for all of humanity. For the first time, we had extended our reach beyond the confines of our planet. We had taken our first tentative step into the cosmos. The space race that followed Sputnik's launch would lead to some of the most incredible achievements in human history. We're talking about things that people had only dreamed about in science fiction stories. Suddenly, those dreams were becoming reality. Sputnik 1 opened up a whole new world of possibilities. Scientists and engineers started thinking about what else we could do in space. Could we send a person up there? Could we reach other planets? The ideas were flowing and the excitement was palpable, and it wasn't just the scientific community that was buzzing. Regular people were captivated too. Kids started building model rockets in their backyards. Science fiction stories became more popular than ever. Everyone was looking up at the night sky with a new sense of wonder. The launch of Sputnik 1 also changed how we saw ourselves as a species. For the first time, we had a tangible connection to the vast universe beyond our planet. Those beeps coming from space were like a hello from the cosmos, reminding us of our place in the grand scheme of things. It's amazing to think about how far we've come since those early days of the space race. Today, we have sophisticated satellites orbiting Earth, space stations where astronauts live for months at a time, and rovers exploring the surface of Mars. But it all started with that one little satellite, beeping its way around our planet. Sputnik 1 might not have been much to look at, but its impact was truly out of this world. It kicked off a new era of human exploration and discovery that continues to this day. Every time we see a satellite in the night sky or hear about a new space mission, we're seeing the legacy of that first step into space. While Sputnik 1 had kicked off the space race, it was actually an American satellite that made one of the most surprising discoveries about our planet's surroundings. Explorer 1, launched on January 31st, 1958, wasn't just a response to the Soviet achievement. It was a scientific powerhouse in its own right. This satellite, though small, was packed with instruments designed to measure cosmic rays and other phenomena in space. Little did the scientists know that Explorer 1 was about to stumble upon something that would change our understanding of Earth's environment forever. As Explorer 1 orbited the Earth, it began sending back data that puzzled researchers. The cosmic ray detector on board was showing some unexpected readings. Sometimes it would detect high levels of radiation, and other times it would show almost nothing at all. This strange pattern led to an incredible discovery: the Van Allen radiation belts. These are zones of charged particles trapped by Earth's magnetic field, creating a sort of protective bubble around our planet. This finding was huge because it showed that space wasn't just an empty void. It had its own kind of weather, its own dangers, and its own unique environment that future space missions would need to take into account. The discovery of the Van Allen belts wasn't just a cool scientific fact. It had real implications for space travel and satellite technology. Engineers now had to figure out how to protect both astronauts and delicate electronic equipment from this intense radiation. It's kind of wild to think that before Explorer 1, we had no idea these belts even existed. Now, they're a crucial consideration in planning any mission beyond Earth's atmosphere. While the Americans were making these groundbreaking discoveries, the Soviets weren't sitting idle. They continued to launch more Sputnik satellites, each one more advanced than the last. It was like a high-tech game of leapfrog, with each side trying to outdo the other. But as exciting as this competition was, it was also driving rapid advancements in satellite technology that would soon have practical applications back on Earth. One of the most significant of these applications came in 1960 with the launch of TIROS-1. This was the first successful weather satellite, and it completely changed the game for meteorologists. For the first time ever, we could see storms from space. Imagine being able to watch a hurricane form and track its movement across the ocean. It was like giving weather forecasters a crystal ball. TIROS-1 provided real-time images of cloud cover and weather patterns, allowing for more accurate predictions and potentially saving lives by providing early warnings for severe weather events. But satellites weren't just about science and weather forecasting. They were also about to revolutionize how we communicate across vast distances. Enter Telstar-1, launched on July 10, 1962. This satellite was a game-changer in the world of telecommunications. It enabled something that had never been done before: a live transatlantic television broadcast. On July 23, 1962, viewers in the United States and Europe watched the same program simultaneously. It's hard to overstate how mind-blowing this was at the time. Suddenly, events happening on one side of the world could be seen in real time on the other side. The world felt a whole lot smaller. This first transatlantic TV broadcast via Telstar-1 was a historic moment that really showcased the potential of satellite technology to connect people across vast distances. The program that was broadcast, called The World's Fair, was a significant milestone in the history of television. It's pretty amazing to think about how far we've come since then. These days, we can video chat with someone on the other side of the planet without even thinking about it. But back then, seeing a live image from across the ocean was nothing short of magical. Each new satellite launch during this period taught us more about space and showed us new ways to use this technology. We were learning how to navigate the challenges of operating in space, from dealing with the harsh radiation environment to figuring out how to keep satellites in the right orbit. And with each success, we were getting more ambitious about what we could achieve. These early satellite launches weren't just about beating the other side in the space race. They led to major scientific discoveries and practical applications that changed our understanding of space and improved life on Earth. From weather forecasting to global communications, satellites quickly became an integral part of our modern world. And this was just the beginning. As we got better at building and launching satellites, we started to dream even bigger. What else could we do with this technology? How far into space could we go? As satellites pushed the boundaries of what was possible in Earth's orbit, a new challenge emerged that would test the limits of human ingenuity and courage. In 1961, President Kennedy made a bold declaration that would set the stage for mankind's greatest adventure. He promised that the United States would put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. This wasn't just a scientific goal. It was a political statement aimed at proving American superiority over the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War. To achieve this ambitious goal, the Apollo program was created. It was one of the most massive and expensive projects in human history, requiring rapid advancements in technology and pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. But the journey to the moon wasn't going to be easy, and the Soviets were still ahead in the early stages of the space race. In fact, the Soviet Union had already achieved a major milestone when they launched Yuri Gagarin as the first human in space in 1961. This put immense pressure on the United States to accelerate their own lunar ambitions. The Americans weren't far behind, though. In 1962, John Glenn became the first American to orbit Earth, showing that the US was quickly catching up. As the 1960s progressed, both countries made significant strides in their space programs. The Soviet Union's Luna program included several successful missions that laid the groundwork for their lunar exploration efforts. Meanwhile, the Apollo program faced numerous challenges, including technical difficulties and budget constraints. But despite these obstacles, the race to the moon continued at a breakneck pace. The Apollo program had to overcome a lot of hurdles to meet Kennedy's ambitious timeline. They needed to develop new technologies, create more powerful rockets, and design spacecraft capable of surviving the journey to the moon and back. It was a monumental task that required the efforts of thousands of scientists, engineers, and support staff working around the clock. We see the intensity of the space race ramping up as the decade wore on. Both nations were pouring massive resources into their space programs, each hoping to be the first to achieve the ultimate goal of landing humans on the moon. The entire world was watching, captivated by the drama unfolding in the skies above. Eventually, all of the hard work and determination paid off. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the lunar surface. It was a moment that captivated the entire world, as people from all walks of life tuned in to witness this incredible achievement. Armstrong's famous words upon landing, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," encapsulated the monumental significance of the Apollo 11 mission and resonated worldwide. The moon landing was more than just a scientific accomplishment. It was a symbol of human ingenuity and exploration, showing what we could achieve when united by a common goal. Buzz Aldrin's remark, "The Eagle has landed," highlighted the gravity of the moment as humanity took its first steps on another celestial body. This achievement changed how we saw ourselves and our place in the universe. For the first time, humans had traveled beyond the confines of Earth and set foot on another world. It opened up new possibilities and sparked the imagination of an entire generation. Kids who watched the moon landing dreamed of becoming astronauts, and the event inspired countless advances in science and technology. The impact of the moon landings extended far beyond just the scientific community. It influenced popular culture, art, and literature. The image of Earth seen from the moon, a small blue marble suspended in the vastness of space, became an iconic symbol of our planet's fragility and interconnectedness. Of course, the moon landings weren't the end of space exploration. They were just the beginning. The success of the Apollo program paved the way for future missions and inspired new goals in space exploration. It showed that with enough determination and resources, humanity could achieve what once seemed impossible. As we venture deeper into the realm of space exploration, we discover that reaching for the stars isn't all about glory and success. The reality of space travel brings with it a host of unexpected challenges that test the limits of human ingenuity and endurance. One of the biggest problems astronauts face is something we often take for granted here on Earth: gravity, or more accurately, the lack of it. In the weightless environment of space, astronauts experience significant changes to their bodies. Without the constant pull of gravity, their muscles start to shrink and their bones begin to weaken. It's actually pretty wild how quickly this happens. Studies have shown that astronauts can lose up to 1% of their bone mass every month they're in space. That's a huge deal when you think about it. Imagine coming back to Earth after a long mission and suddenly being at a much higher risk of fractures or developing osteoporosis. It's like their bodies forget how to be strong without gravity constantly challenging them. But it's not just physical challenges that astronauts face. the psychological impact of space travel is equally daunting. Think about it. You're stuck in a tiny spacecraft millions of miles from home, with only a handful of other people for company. It's no wonder that stress, anxiety, and depression can become serious issues. NASA has had to get creative in finding ways to support their astronauts' mental health during these long missions. They've implemented various psychological support systems to help the crew cope with the isolation and confinement. It's a reminder that even the toughest, most highly trained individuals aren't immune to the psychological strain of being so far from everything familiar. Of course, we can't talk about the challenges of space travel without mentioning the technical problems that can arise. One of the most famous examples of this is the Apollo 13 mission in 1970. What was supposed to be a routine flight to the moon turned into a fight for survival when an oxygen tank exploded. Suddenly, the astronauts found themselves in a life-threatening situation millions of miles from Earth. It was a moment that showcased just how quickly things can go wrong in space. The Apollo 13 crisis also demonstrated the incredible problem-solving skills of both the astronauts and the ground crew. They had to work together to find a way to get the spacecraft back to Earth, safely using only the limited resources available on board. One of the most impressive examples of their ingenuity was when they had to create a makeshift carbon dioxide scrubber using duct tape and other materials they had on hand. It's pretty amazing to think that something as simple as duct tape played a crucial role in saving the lives of astronauts in space. Another major challenge that astronauts face is the constant threat of radiation. Here on Earth, we're protected from most of the harmful cosmic radiation by our planet's magnetic field and atmosphere. But in space, it's a different story. Astronauts are exposed to much higher levels of radiation, which can increase their risk of developing cancer and other health issues later in life. Space agencies are constantly researching new ways to shield astronauts from this invisible danger, but it remains one of the biggest obstacles to long-term space exploration. Even the most basic daily tasks become complicated in space. Things we do without thinking on Earth, like eating and sleeping, require special adaptations in zero gravity. Astronauts can't just sit down to a normal meal. They need specially designed food packages that won't float away or create dangerous crumbs that could interfere with equipment. And when it's time to sleep, they can't just lie down in a bed. Instead, they use sleeping bags that are secured to the walls of the spacecraft to prevent them from drifting around while they rest. It's a constant reminder that everything we take for granted on Earth has to be rethought and redesigned for life in space. As we journey further into the cosmos, our understanding of the universe and our place within it has undergone a profound transformation. Space exploration has not only expanded our knowledge, but also fundamentally altered our perspective on the world we call home. One of the most significant changes came from the unique vantage point that space travel provided: the ability to see Earth from afar. Astronauts who have had the privilege of viewing our planet from space often describe it as a small, fragile ball suspended in the vast darkness. This perspective has had a profound impact on how many people view Earth and its place in the universe. Seeing our world as a whole, without the artificial borders we've drawn on maps, has inspired a shift in thinking about our planet and our collective responsibility to protect it. The moon, once a mysterious light in the night sky that sparked imagination and folklore, has become a tangible destination for human exploration. Our closest celestial neighbor has been transformed from an object of wonder into a place we've actually visited and studied up close. This shift in perspective has demystified the moon to some extent, but it has also deepened our appreciation for its beauty and significance in our night sky. Our understanding of other planets in our solar system has also evolved dramatically thanks to space exploration. Take Venus, for example. Once imagined as a tropical paradise, perhaps even a potential second Earth, we now know it to be a hellish world of extreme heat and toxic atmosphere. This revelation serves as a stark reminder of how unique and precious our own planet truly is. Mars, the red planet that has long captured our imagination, has undergone a similar transformation in our understanding. Ancient astronomers once believed they saw canals on its surface, leading to speculation about advanced Martian civilizations. However, space exploration has revealed Mars to be a cold, dry desert. But this doesn't mean it's without intrigue. Evidence suggests that Mars might have once had water, sparking renewed interest in the possibility of past or even present microbial life. As we've ventured further into our solar system, we've uncovered the complex and fascinating nature of the gas giants, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These massive planets, once just bright points of light in our telescopes, have been revealed to have intricate systems of moons and rings. Each of these distant worlds has its own unique characteristics and mysteries, expanding our understanding of the diversity of planetary systems. But perhaps the most mind-bending discoveries have come from peering beyond our solar system. Space exploration and advanced telescopes have shown us that there are billions of galaxies out there, each containing billions of stars. This realization has fundamentally altered our cosmic perspective, revealing a universe far more vast and complex than we ever imagined. This new cosmic perspective has had a profound effect on how we view ourselves and our place in the universe. For some, the sheer scale of the cosmos can make us feel small and insignificant. After all, we're just tiny specks on a small planet orbiting an average star in one of countless galaxies. But for others, this same perspective inspires a sense of awe and wonder. The fact that we can comprehend and explore such a vast universe is itself a remarkable feat. Our journey of discovery through space has not only changed how we see the universe, but also how we see ourselves. The realization that we're all sharing this pale blue dot, as Carl Sagan famously described Earth, has led many to reconsider our responsibilities to our planet and to each other. The borders and divisions that seem so important from the ground fade away when viewed from space, highlighting our shared destiny as inhabitants of Earth. The advances in space exploration have also had practical impacts on our daily lives. Satellites orbiting Earth have revolutionized communication, weather forecasting, and our ability to study and monitor our own planet. These technologies, born from our desire to explore space, have become integral to modern life and have given us new tools to understand and protect our homeworld. As we shift our gaze from the competitive space race to a new era of cosmic collaboration, we find ourselves on the brink of an unprecedented endeavor. Imagine a laboratory larger than a football field, constantly occupied by astronauts from around the world, conducting groundbreaking research as it orbits our planet. This extraordinary project, known as the International Space Station, ISS, would change the face of space exploration forever. The end of the Cold War ushered in a new chapter in space history. Former rivals, once locked in a fierce competition to conquer the cosmos, began to see the potential of working together. This shift didn't happen overnight, though. It started with a symbolic handshake in space during the Apollo-Soyuz mission in 1975. This mission saw American and Soviet spacecraft dock in orbit, a powerful image of cooperation that would set the stage for even greater collaborations to come. But it wasn't until the 1990s that the real magic began to happen. The United States and Russia, along with other spacefaring nations, started to dream big. They envisioned a permanent outpost in space, a place where humans could live and work for extended periods. This dream would eventually become the International Space Station. Building the ISS was no small feat. It required careful planning, innovative engineering, and unprecedented international cooperation. The project officially kicked off on November 20th, 1998, with the launch of the first module, Zarya. This Russian-built module, whose name means sunrise in English, was the dawn of a new era in space exploration. From that point on, the ISS grew piece by piece, module by module. Each launch and assembly was a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. The Unity module followed Zarya, connecting the US and Russian segments of the station. Then came Zvezda, providing living quarters for the crew, and Destiny, the primary research laboratory. With each addition, the ISS expanded its capabilities and inched closer to its final form. Today, the International Space Station is a marvel of engineering and international cooperation. It's about the size of a football field and is the largest human-made structure in space. But its size isn't what makes it truly impressive. What's really amazing is that it represents the combined efforts of over 15 nations working together towards a common goal. Life aboard the ISS is a unique experience. Astronauts from different countries live and work together in close quarters, conducting experiments that simply can't be done on Earth. They study the effects of microgravity on human health, which has huge implications for future long-duration space travel. Maybe one day, the knowledge gained on the ISS will help us send humans to Mars. The research conducted on the ISS isn't just about space, though. Experiments in materials, science, biology, and physics have led to advancements that benefit us right here on Earth. It's like having a laboratory that gives us a completely new perspective on our world and the universe around us. But perhaps the most profound impact of the ISS is how it's changed our view of international cooperation. Astronauts who've spent time on the station often speak about this. Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield once said, "The ISS is a symbol of what we can achieve when we work together across borders and cultures. It's a powerful reminder that when we put aside our differences and work towards a common goal, we can achieve incredible things." The ISS has also given us a new perspective on our planet. Astronauts often describe the view of Earth from space as breathtaking and transformative. Seeing our planet as a small, fragile ball suspended in the vastness of space has made many realize just how precious and unique our world is. As we look to the future of space exploration, the International Space Station stands as a shining example of what's possible. It's shown us that the challenges of space are best met not through competition, but through cooperation. The ISS has paved the way for future collaborative projects in space, whether that's establishing a permanent presence on the Moon or sending humans to Mars. As we turn our attention from the collaborative efforts of nations in space, a new chapter in cosmic exploration was quietly unfolding back on Earth. This time, the race to the stars wasn't led by governments, but by visionary billionaires and their companies. This shift would redefine our relationship with space in ways no one could have predicted. In the early 21st century, a handful of private companies emerged with ambitious plans to revolutionize space travel. These weren't just pipe dreams or sci-fi fantasies. These companies had the resources, the technology, and the determination to make their cosmic visions a reality. We're talking about names like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic, each with their own unique approach to conquering the final frontier. Let's start with SpaceX, the brainchild of tech entrepreneur Elon Musk. In 2012, SpaceX achieved something that had never been done before by a private company. They successfully sent their Dragon spacecraft to the International Space Station. This wasn't just a cool accomplishment, it was a game changer. It proved that private companies could play in the big leagues of space exploration, a field that had been dominated by government agencies for decades. But SpaceX wasn't the only player in this new space race. We also had Blue Origin, founded by Amazon's Jeff Bezos. While SpaceX was making headlines with their ISS missions, Blue Origin was quietly working on a different aspect of space technology: reusable rockets. Their focus was on developing the New Shepard, a rocket designed for suborbital flights. The idea behind this was pretty clever. If we could reuse rockets instead of building new ones for every launch, we could dramatically reduce the cost of getting to space. And then there was Virgin Galactic, the creation of British entrepreneur Richard Branson. These guys had a different goal in mind. They wanted to make space tourism a reality. Imagine being able to book a trip to space as easily as you'd book a flight to Paris. That's the future Virgin Galactic was working towards with their Spaceship Two vehicle. This spacecraft was designed for suborbital flights, giving wealthy passengers the chance to experience weightlessness and see the curvature of the Earth with their own eyes. What's really interesting about these companies is how they've changed the pace of innovation in space technology. Traditional government space agencies often move at a slower pace due to bureaucracy and budget constraints. But these private companies, they're moving fast. They're pushing boundaries, taking risks, and rapidly advancing rocket technology and spacecraft design. This competition among private space companies has sparked a new era of innovation. Each company brings something unique to the table, whether it's SpaceX's focus on Mars colonization, Blue Origin's commitment to sustainable space travel, or Virgin Galactic's vision of space tourism. This diverse landscape is driving progress at a breakneck speed, and it's expected to make space more accessible than ever before. But it's not just about the big three. Other players are making waves in this new space race too. Take Rocket Lab, for example. These guys are focusing on small satellite launches, catering to a growing market for compact, cost-effective satellites. Then there's Relativity Space, known for their innovative approach of using 3D printed rockets. These smaller companies are contributing to a vibrant and rapidly evolving space industry, each finding their own niche in the cosmic market. The impact of these private space companies goes beyond just technological advancements. They're changing how we think about space itself. For decades, space was seen as the domain of governments and professional astronauts. But now, it's becoming increasingly accessible to private citizens. The idea that someone could potentially book a trip to space, even if it's just a short suborbital flight, is mind-blowing. It's turning space from a distant, unreachable frontier into something that feels more tangible and within reach. Of course, we're still in the early stages of this new space race. There are plenty of challenges to overcome, from technical hurdles to safety concerns to ethical questions about the commercialization of space. But the progress we've seen so far is undeniably exciting. These private companies are pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and in doing so, they're opening up new possibilities for human exploration and scientific discovery. While private companies were making headlines with their ambitious space endeavors closer to home, a different kind of exploration was unfolding in the far reaches of our solar system. Robotic probes, silently traversing the cosmic void, were unveiling secrets that even the most imaginative space entrepreneurs couldn't have dreamed up. These mechanical explorers have been quietly revolutionizing our understanding of our cosmic neighborhood, challenging long-held beliefs and opening up new possibilities for the future of space exploration. The Voyager probes, launched back in the 1970s, were among the first of these robotic pioneers to venture into the outer solar system. These intrepid spacecraft gave humanity its first up-close look at the gas giants and their fascinating moons. But the Voyagers weren't just scientific instruments. They also carried a message from Earth. Each probe was equipped with a golden record, a time capsule of sorts containing sounds and images from our planet. It's a beautiful gesture, really. Even as we explore the unknown, we're reaching out, hoping to communicate with any intelligent life that might be out there. As these probes pushed further into the solar system, they started uncovering some mind-blowing discoveries. Take Jupiter's moon Europa, for instance. This icy world might look pretty unremarkable at first glance, but beneath its frozen surface, scientists now believe there could be a vast ocean. This discovery has got everyone buzzing about the possibility of alien life. After all, if there's water, one of the key ingredients for life as we know it, who knows what kind of creatures might be swimming around down there? But Europa isn't the only icy moon hiding secrets. The Cassini probe, which spent years studying Saturn and its moons, found something equally exciting on Enceladus. This tiny moon is shooting out geysers of water ice from its south pole. It's like a cosmic old faithful, hinting at another hidden ocean beneath the surface. These discoveries are completely changing how we think about where life might exist in our solar system. We're no longer just looking at planets. Now, even small moons could be potential habitats for alien life. Closer to home, a series of rovers have been trekking across the red sands of Mars. These plucky little robots have been searching for signs of water, and what they've found is pretty incredible. They've discovered evidence of ancient river valleys and lake beds, suggesting that Mars once had a much wetter past. This is huge because water is crucial for life as we know it. If Mars once had flowing rivers and vast lakes, it opens up the possibility that life might have existed there in the past. Or maybe, just maybe, it still does in some microbial form. But the surprises didn't stop at Mars. In 2015, the New Horizons probe reached Pluto, giving us our first good look at this distant world. What we saw completely shattered our expectations. Instead of a cold, dead ball of ice, we found a diverse and dynamic world. Pluto has towering mountains of water ice and vast glaciers of nitrogen. It's got a thin atmosphere and even shows signs of geological activity. This tiny world at the edge of our solar system turned out to be far more complex and interesting than anyone had imagined. Each of these missions has added another piece to the puzzle of our solar system. we're learning that it's a much more diverse and dynamic place than we ever thought. Every planet and moon seems to have its own unique character, its own story to tell. And with each new discovery, we find ourselves with more questions than answers. It's like peeling back layers of a cosmic onion, with each layer revealing new mysteries to explore. These robotic explorers have fundamentally changed how we see our place in the cosmos. They've shown us that our solar system is full of potential for life, with hidden oceans and ancient riverbeds scattered across unlikely worlds. They've revealed the beauty and complexity of our planetary neighbors, from the swirling storms of Jupiter to the icy plains of Pluto. And perhaps most importantly, they've reminded us of just how much we still have to learn about our cosmic backyard. While robotic explorers have transformed our understanding of distant worlds, space technology has quietly revolutionized life right here on Earth. You might be surprised to learn just how much of your daily routine relies on innovations originally designed for the cosmos. These space-age marvels have become so integrated into our lives that we often take them for granted, but their impact is truly out of this world. One of the most significant ways space exploration has changed our lives is through satellite technology. These orbiting wonders have completely transformed how we communicate, navigate, and even predict the weather. Take GPS, for example. This technology, which we use every day in our smartphones and cars, was originally developed for military satellites. Now, it's an essential part of our daily lives, helping us find our way around unfamiliar cities or even locate the nearest coffee shop. Weather forecasting has also taken a giant leap forward thanks to satellites. Meteorologists can now track storms and weather patterns from space, leading to more accurate predictions and timely warnings for severe weather events. This improvement in forecasting has saved countless lives by giving people more time to prepare for hurricanes, tornadoes, and other dangerous weather phenomena. But it's not just about satellites. Many technologies developed for space missions have found surprisingly practical uses here on Earth. Memory foam is a perfect example of this. Originally created to make spacecraft seats more comfortable, this pressure-distributing, temperature-sensitive material is now found in mattresses, pillows, and even shoes. It's helped millions of people get a better night's sleep or find relief from chronic pain, all thanks to a NASA invention. Water purification is another area where space technology has made a huge difference. Systems designed to recycle water on spacecraft have been adapted for use in developing countries, providing clean drinking water to communities that previously lacked access to safe water sources. This technology has had a profound impact on public health, reducing the spread of waterborne diseases and improving quality of life for countless people. Even our cameras have benefited from space exploration. The sensors used in many digital cameras were first developed for space telescopes. These advanced imaging technologies have revolutionized photography, allowing us to capture high-quality images in low-light conditions or at extreme magnifications. It's pretty amazing to think that the same technology used to photograph distant galaxies is now in our pockets, helping us snap selfies and capture precious memories. And let's not forget about entertainment. Satellite TV and radio are direct results of advancements in space technology. These innovations have transformed how we consume media, giving us access to hundreds of channels and allowing us to enjoy our favorite shows and music no matter where we are. The ability to broadcast live events globally has connected people across continents, creating shared experiences that were once impossible. The economic impact of the space industry is equally impressive. Estimates suggest that it contributes hundreds of billions of dollars to the global economy through various sectors, including telecommunications, weather forecasting, and navigation. This economic boost has created jobs, driven innovation, and spurred technological advancements across a wide range of industries. But perhaps the most profound impact of space technology on our daily lives is one that's harder to quantify. The images and data sent back by satellites and space probes have changed how we see our planet and our place in the universe. The famous blue marble photograph of Earth taken by Apollo 17 astronauts helped spark the environmental movement by showing just how fragile and precious our planet is. This shift in perspective has influenced everything from environmental policies to personal choices about sustainability. Space technology has also inspired countless innovations in fields like medicine, robotics, and materials science. The The challenges of space exploration push engineers and scientists to develop new solutions that often have unexpected applications here on Earth. From artificial limbs inspired by robotic arms to fire-resistant materials based on spacecraft heat shields, the spin-offs from space research continue to improve our lives in countless ways. As we marvel at the innovations space technology has brought to Earth, our gaze once again turns skyward. Remember when setting foot on the moon was humanity's greatest achievement? Well, now we're not just aiming to visit, we're planning to move in. NASA's Artemis program is gearing up for something far more ambitious than a few footprints in the lunar dust. After decades of focusing on other cosmic targets, space agencies are setting their sights on our celestial neighbor with a twist. This time, they're packing their bags for an extended stay. The goal of NASA's Artemis program isn't just to plant a flag and call it a day. It's to establish a permanent human presence on the moon. This is a huge shift in how we approach lunar exploration, and it's got scientists and space enthusiasts buzzing with excitement. One of the coolest parts of this new lunar adventure is the plan to build a space station in lunar orbit called Gateway. Think of it as a cosmic pit stop, a place where astronauts can prepare for their descent to the lunar surface or catch their breath before heading back to Earth. It's like having a floating home base that'll make exploring the moon a whole lot easier. On the moon itself, NASA has its eyes on a prime piece of lunar real estate near the South Pole. Why there? Well, it turns out this area might be hiding a treasure more valuable than gold: water ice. In the permanently shadowed craters of the lunar South Pole, scientists believe there could be deposits of frozen water. This isn't just exciting for potential moon snowball fights, though, let's be honest, that would be awesome. Water is absolutely crucial for any long-term presence on the moon. It can be used for drinking, growing food, and even making rocket fuel. Talk about a multi-purpose resource. But NASA isn't the only player in this new lunar game. Other countries and private companies are getting in on the action too. China, for example, has its own ambitious lunar program. They've already achieved something pretty incredible: landing rovers on the far side of the moon. This is a part of the lunar surface we've never explored up close before, and it's opening up whole new areas of study. These moon bases aren't just about fulfilling our sci-fi fantasies, though that's certainly part of the appeal. They could serve as a crucial testing ground for technologies we'll need for future Mars missions. Think of the moon as a cosmic stepping stone, a place where we can practice living on another world before we take the big leap to the red planet. Of course, setting up shop on the moon isn't going to be a walk in the park. There are some pretty significant challenges that need to be overcome. For one, there's the issue of radiation. Unlike Earth, the moon doesn't have a magnetic field to protect its surface from harmful cosmic rays. Then there's the problem of lunar dust. It might sound harmless, but moon dust is incredibly fine and abrasive. It can damage equipment and potentially cause health issues if inhaled. And let's not forget about the lunar night. On the moon, night lasts for about 2 weeks, plunging temperatures to extreme lows and cutting off solar power. That's a long time to be in the dark and cold, and it poses significant risks to both human health and equipment. Figuring out how to keep everything and everyone functioning during these long periods of darkness is going to be crucial for the success of any long-term lunar mission. But here's the thing. Overcoming these challenges is exactly what makes space exploration so exciting. Each problem solved brings us one step closer to not just surviving on the moon, but thriving there. And the solutions we develop could have applications far beyond lunar exploration. Who knows what innovations might come from figuring out how to live comfortably in such an extreme environment. The current plans for establishing a permanent presence on the moon involve international cooperation on a scale we've never seen before in space exploration. It's not just about one country planting their flag anymore. It's about humanity as a whole taking its first real steps towards becoming a multi-planet species. As humanity sets its sights on becoming a multi-planet species, Mars has captured our imagination like no other celestial body. The red planet, with its rusty surface and potential for harboring ancient life, presents an even greater challenge than the moon, and an even greater reward. But just how close are we to setting foot on this alien world? It turns out we're closer than ever before. Several space agencies and private companies are actively working on plans to send humans to Mars in the coming decades. NASA, always at the forefront of space exploration, has developed a strategy that involves using the moon as a testing ground. The idea is to practice living on another world before taking the much longer and riskier journey to Mars. This approach makes a lot of sense when you think about it. The moon is like our cosmic backyard, a place where we can work out the kinks in our technology and procedures before venturing further into space. But not everyone is content with such a cautious approach. SpaceX, the company founded by Elon Musk, has even more ambitious plans. They're not just talking about sending a few astronauts to Mars. They want to establish an entire city there. It's a bold vision, one that would truly make humanity a multi-planetary species. Of course, getting to Mars is no easy feat. Even with our current technology, the journey would take at least 6 months. That's a long time to be cooped up in a spacecraft, exposed to the dangers of space. And those dangers don't end when astronauts reach Mars. In fact, they might face even greater challenges on the red planet's surface. One of the biggest concerns is radiation. Mars doesn't have a magnetic field like Earth does, which means it's much more exposed to cosmic rays and solar radiation. Astronauts on Mars would be hit with much stronger radiation than they'd experience on Earth, which could lead to all sorts of health problems. Then there's the question of what astronauts would eat and breathe once they're on Mars. The planet's atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, which isn't exactly great for human lungs. And while Matt Damon might have made growing potatoes on Mars look easy in The Martian, the reality is a bit more complicated. Scientists are working on plans to grow food and produce oxygen on Mars, but it's not a simple task. Some researchers think we should send robots to Mars first. These mechanical explorers could build habitats and prepare the way for human arrival, potentially making the first manned missions much safer. We've already seen some success with this approach. The Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, or MOXIE for short, has successfully produced oxygen from the carbon dioxide-rich atmosphere of Mars. This is a huge deal because it shows we might be able to create breathable air for future astronauts right there on the red planet. MOXIE's success has some pretty big implications for future human exploration. If we can produce oxygen on Mars, we won't need to bring as much with us from Earth. That could significantly reduce the amount of stuff we need to launch into space, making missions more feasible and potentially more frequent. We're also making progress in other areas of Mars exploration. The Ingenuity helicopter, which hitched a ride to Mars with the Perseverance rover, has completed an impressive 72 flights on the red planet. That's way more than anyone expected, and it shows that we might be able to use flying vehicles to explore Mars more efficiently in the future. Despite all these advancements, sending humans to Mars remains a significant challenge. The journey is long, the environment is hostile, and there are countless technical hurdles to overcome. But many people are excited about the possibility of becoming a multi-planet species. There's something deeply inspiring about the idea of humans setting foot on another world, of expanding our horizons beyond the planet that gave birth to us. As we continue our journey through the cosmos, we're about to explore an exciting new frontier that could reshape our approach to space exploration. We're not just talking about visiting other worlds anymore, we're talking about using them. The idea of mining resources from space might sound like something out of a sci-fi novel, but it's quickly becoming a real possibility that could have huge implications for our future in space and even back here on Earth. Let's start with asteroids. These space rocks might not look like much, but they're actually treasure troves of valuable metals. We're talking about platinum, gold, and other precious metals that are pretty rare here on Earth. Some experts think that in the future, we might be able to mine these asteroids for these valuable resources. It's a pretty wild idea when you think about it. Imagine sending robots out into space to dig up gold from floating rocks. But asteroids aren't the only celestial bodies with valuable resources. The Moon, our closest neighbor, has some pretty interesting stuff too. Scientists have discovered that the Moon has large deposits of something called helium-3. Now, this might not sound very exciting at first, but helium-3 could potentially be used as fuel for nuclear fusion. If we can figure out how to harness fusion energy, it could be a game changer for powering future space missions and maybe even solving some of our energy problems back on Earth. Mars, the red planet that's captured our imagination for so long, has some interesting resources too. That reddish color we see? That's actually from iron oxide, which is basically rust. But here's the cool part, that iron oxide could potentially be used to make steel. If we ever want to build structures on Mars, we might be able to use materials right there on the planet's surface. It's like the ultimate recycling project. But perhaps the most valuable resource we've found in space so far is something we're all pretty familiar with: water. We've discovered ice on both the Moon and Mars, and this is huge for a couple of reasons. First, it could be used for drinking water, which is obviously essential for any long-term space missions. But water can also be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen, which are the components of rocket fuel. So finding water in space could mean we wouldn't have to carry all our fuel with us from Earth, making long-distance space travel much more feasible. Now, all of this sounds pretty awesome, but we can't get too excited just yet. There are still some big challenges we need to overcome before space mining becomes a reality. Some companies are already working on developing technologies for space mining, which is pretty cool. But one of the biggest hurdles right now is the cost. It's still incredibly expensive to launch anything into space, let alone heavy mining equipment. We're talking millions of dollars just to get a few pounds of material into orbit. So before we can start mining asteroids or the Moon, we need to figure out how to make space launches much cheaper. There are also some tricky legal questions to sort out. Right now, there's no clear agreement on who actually owns the resources in space. It's not like here on Earth where countries have borders and ownership is pretty well established. In space, it's all new territory. Countries are currently debating how to handle this. Should resources in space belong to whoever gets there first? Should they be shared among all nations? These are big questions that need to be answered before we can start setting up space mines. Despite all these challenges, many people are still really excited about the potential of space resources. They could be key to our future exploration of space, allowing us to build bases and refuel spacecraft without having to constantly resupply from Earth. And the resources we find could even help solve some problems here on our home planet, like shortages of certain metals or the need for new energy sources. As we continue our journey through the cosmos, we're about to explore a fascinating evolution that's taken place right here on Earth: the changing role of astronauts. From the early days of space exploration to the present, the job of an astronaut has undergone a remarkable transformation that mirrors our expanding ambitions in space. In the beginning, astronauts were primarily selected from the ranks of military test pilots. These individuals were chosen for their toughness and ability to handle experimental aircraft, qualities that were deemed essential for the high-stakes environment of early space missions. But here's the thing. Despite their impressive skills, these early astronauts were more like passengers than pilots. Their spacecraft were largely controlled from the ground, with the astronauts themselves having limited control over their vessels. As space missions became more complex, the role of astronauts began to expand. They weren't just along for the ride anymore. They had to become pilots, engineers, and scientists, all rolled into one. This shift was particularly evident during the Apollo missions. Suddenly, astronauts weren't just expected to fly to the Moon. They had to be geologists, too. They were tasked with collecting and studying moon rocks, providing valuable insights into the lunar surface and its history. The space shuttle era marked another significant evolution in the astronaut's role. The shuttle itself was like a flying laboratory, and astronauts transformed into scientists conducting a wide range of experiments in microgravity. This was a far cry from the early days when their primary job was simply to survive the trip. Now, they were actively contributing to scientific research that couldn't be done anywhere else. Today, if you were to visit the International Space Station, ISS, you'd find that astronauts spend the majority of their time conducting scientific research. This shift really highlights how the role of astronauts has evolved from mere operators to multidisciplinary scientists. The ISS is essentially an orbiting research facility, and the astronauts are the hands and eyes of scientists from all over the world. But the evolution of the astronauts' role isn't stopping there. As we look towards future missions like potential trips to Mars or long-term lunar bases, astronauts might need to acquire even more diverse skills. Imagine an astronaut who's not just a pilot and a scientist, but also a farmer growing food on Mars, or a doctor treating patients in the harsh environment of space. The possibilities are as vast as space itself. One thing that hasn't changed, though, is the need for astronauts to be brave and adaptable. Space is always full of surprises, and no matter how much training they receive, astronauts need to be ready for the unexpected. Whether it's dealing with equipment malfunctions, health issues, or unforeseen scientific discoveries, the ability to think on their feet and adapt to new situations remains crucial. It's interesting to think about how this evolution reflects our changing goals in space exploration. In the early days, the focus was simply on getting there, launching a satellite, putting a person in orbit, landing on the moon. But as we've become more comfortable with space travel, our goals have shifted. Now, we're using space as a unique environment for scientific research, one that offers opportunities we can't find anywhere on Earth. The changing role of astronauts also highlights the increasing importance of international cooperation in space. Today's astronauts often work alongside colleagues from different countries, sharing knowledge and expertise. This collaborative approach is a far cry from the competitive spirit of the early space race, and it's likely to become even more important as we set our sights on more ambitious goals like Mars exploration. As we look to the future, it's clear that the role of astronauts will continue to evolve. They might become the first colonists on other worlds, the pioneers of new forms of space-based industry, or the discoverers of extraterrestrial life. Whatever the future holds, one thing is certain: the job of an astronaut will remain one of the most challenging, exciting, and important roles in human exploration. As we venture further into the cosmos, the very vessels that carry us are undergoing their own revolution. Imagine ascending to orbit on an elevator, or sailing through the stars on beams of light. These aren't just sci-fi dreams, they're technologies in development right now, promising to reshape our approach to space travel. One of the most exciting ideas is the space elevator. Picture a cable stretching from Earth all the way up into space. It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, but scientists are seriously exploring this concept. The idea is that this elevator could provide easy access to orbit, dramatically reducing the cost and energy needed for launches. It's a wild concept, but if we could pull it off, it would completely change the game for space exploration. Another fascinating technology in the works is the solar sail. This is pretty much exactly what it sounds like: a sail for spacecraft that uses sunlight instead of wind. The pressure from sunlight pushes on the sail, propelling the spacecraft forward. The really cool thing about solar sails is that they could potentially allow for long-distance space travel without the need for fuel. They'd just keep going, pushed along by the endless stream of solar radiation. Now, let's talk about ion engines. These aren't just theoretical, they're already being used in some spacecraft. Ion engines use electricity to ionize a propellant, usually xenon gas, and then accelerate it using an electric field. This creates a steady thrust that can keep going for a long time. NASA's Dawn spacecraft is a great example of what ion engines can do. Launched back in 2007, Dawn used its ion engines to visit both the asteroid Vesta and the dwarf planet Ceres. That kind of mission would have been way too expensive with regular rockets. But wait, there's more. Some scientists are looking into nuclear propulsion as a way to really speed up our trips through space. The idea here is to use controlled nuclear reactions to generate thrust. If we can make this work safely, it could be a game changer. Some calculations suggest that nuclear propulsion could let us reach speeds up to 10% of the speed of light. That would make missions to Mars and beyond much more feasible. Speaking of wild ideas, there's an old concept called the Orion project that's worth mentioning. This was developed during the Cold War, and it's pretty out there. The idea was to use small nuclear explosions behind a spacecraft to push it forward. Believe it or not, the math shows that this method could potentially get a spacecraft up to 10% of the speed of light. That's fast enough to reach nearby star systems within a reasonable time frame. Of course, not all the new space technologies are about propulsion. We're also working on advanced life support systems that can recycle air and water. This is crucial for long-duration space missions, especially if we want to go to Mars or beyond. The goal is to create closed systems where everything gets reused, reducing the need to bring supplies from Earth. Another cool technology being developed is 3D printing for use in space. This could be a huge deal for long-term missions. Instead of having to pack every possible tool or spare part they might need, astronauts could just print what they need as they go. This would make missions more flexible and reduce the amount of stuff we need to launch into space. All these new technologies aren't just about going faster or further. They're about making space travel safer, more sustainable, and more practical for long-term exploration. Each of these innovations addresses a different challenge of space travel, from the immense energy needed for launches to the logistics of keeping humans alive in a hostile environment for long periods. As we push the boundaries of space exploration, there's an even bigger question that's been captivating scientists and dreamers alike. Are we alone in the universe? The search for extraterrestrial life is taking us to new frontiers, both in our own solar system and far beyond. We're not just looking for little green men anymore. The hunt for alien life is a sophisticated scientific endeavor that's pushing the limits of our technology and imagination. One of the most exciting developments in this search has been the discovery of exoplanets, planets orbiting stars other than our own sun. We've found thousands of these distant worlds, and some of them are in what scientists call the habitable zone of their stars. This is the area where conditions might be just right for liquid water to exist on the surface, which is a key ingredient for life as we know it. In 2016, astronomers made a groundbreaking discovery that brought the search for alien life much closer to home. They found a planet orbiting Proxima Centauri, the star nearest to our Sun, just 4.24 light-years away. This planet, named Proxima Centauri b, is particularly exciting because it's in the habitable zone of its star. Its proximity and potential habitability make it a prime target for future exploration. Who knows? Our cosmic neighbors might be closer than we ever imagined. The hunt for exoplanets has come a long way since the first confirmed discovery back in 1992. That year, astronomers found 2 rocky planets orbiting a pulsar, a type of dense, rotating star. This discovery was like opening the floodgates. Suddenly, the idea that planets were common in the universe didn't seem so far-fetched. Then, in 1995, scientists found 51 Pegasi b, the first exoplanet orbiting a sun-like star. These discoveries changed everything, spurring on the search for more worlds beyond our solar system. But finding planets is just the first step. We also need to figure out if they could support life. That's where the search for biosignatures comes in. These are chemical fingerprints that could indicate the presence of life on a distant world. The James Webb Space Telescope, launched in late 2021, is designed to analyze the light from distant stars as it passes through the atmospheres of orbiting exoplanets. It's looking for potential biosignatures like water vapor and methane. This cutting-edge technology is giving us a new way to peer into the atmospheres of distant worlds and search for signs of life. While we're looking for signs of simple life, we're also keeping an ear out for more advanced civilizations. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, is an ambitious project that's been ongoing for decades. SETI researchers use powerful radio telescopes to listen for signals that might indicate the presence of technologically advanced alien civilizations. It's like trying to eavesdrop on a cosmic conversation. We're listening for any sign that we're not alone in the universe. One of the most ambitious SETI projects is called Breakthrough Listen. This project is using some of the most powerful radio telescopes on Earth to scan the skies for signs of artificial signals. They're not just looking for random radio waves, they're searching for patterns that would be unlikely to occur naturally. It's a bit like looking for a needle in a cosmic haystack, but the potential payoff is enormous. If we ever detect a signal from an alien civilization, it would be one of the most profound discoveries in human history. While we're searching the depths of space, we're also looking closer to home. Some scientists think that if we want to find alien life, we should start by looking for simpler forms first. After all, microbes are the most common form of life on Earth, and they've been around for billions of years. There are several places in our own solar system that might harbor simple life forms. Mars, with its ancient river valleys and lake beds, is an obvious candidate. But some scientists are even more excited about the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter's moon Europa and Saturn's moon Enceladus both have vast oceans hidden beneath their icy surfaces. These subsurface oceans might provide the perfect environment for life to evolve. The European Southern Observatory is developing new instruments to enhance our ability to detect Earth-like planets by measuring tiny gravitational fluctuations caused by orbiting planets. This technology could help us find more potentially habitable worlds right in our cosmic backyard. While scientists search for life on distant planets, some visionaries are working to bring average people closer to the stars. Space tourism is rapidly evolving from science fiction to reality, and it's happening faster than you might think. Companies like Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and SpaceX are leading the charge, each with their own unique approach to making space accessible to civilians. Virgin Galactic has been making waves with their suborbital spaceplane, VSS Unity. This sleek vehicle is designed to carry passengers to the edge of space, offering a few minutes of weightlessness and an unforgettable view of Earth. In June 2023, Virgin Galactic achieved a major milestone by launching its first commercial flight with private astronauts. It's a huge step forward, but it comes with a hefty price tag. Initial tickets were set at around $250,000. Not to be outdone, Blue Origin has been busy with their New Shepard rocket. Like Virgin Galactic, they're focusing on suborbital flights to give passengers a taste of space. Blue Origin has already completed several successful test flights, including a historic launch in July 2021 that carried Jeff Bezos himself to the Kármán line, which is considered the boundary of space. Since then, they've continued to push forward, even managing to send a crew of 6 on a single flight in December 2021. SpaceX, on the other hand, is thinking bigger. They're not just aiming for the edge of space. They want to take tourists into orbit. Their Crew Dragon spacecraft is designed to ferry passengers all the way to the International Space Station and beyond. In September 2021, SpaceX made history with Inspiration, the first all-civilian mission to orbit Earth. But they're not stopping there. SpaceX has plans for even more ambitious journeys, including private trips around the moon. Of course, we can't talk about space tourism without mentioning Dennis Tito, the trailblazer who kickstarted it all. Back in 2001, Tito paid a whopping $20 million to visit the International Space Station, becoming the world's first space tourist. His journey opened the door for other private individuals to follow in his footsteps, proving that space wasn't just for professional astronauts anymore. Right now, most space tourism plans are focused on short suborbital flights. These quick trips to the edge of space offer passengers a few minutes of weightlessness and a stunning view of Earth's curvature. But some companies are dreaming even bigger. There's talk of lunar flybys and even stays at private space stations. It's not just idle chatter either. Companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are actively developing these more ambitious options. One of the most exciting concepts in development is the idea of space hotels. Imagine floating in orbit, watching the Earth spin below you for days or even weeks at a time. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but there are companies working to make it a reality. These orbital hotels would offer unique experiences like spacewalks and unparalleled views of Earth and the stars. Some companies are aiming to have these cosmic accommodations up and running by the late 2020s. Of course, space tourism isn't without its challenges. Safety is a major concern. Space travel is inherently risky, and companies are working hard to ensure their spacecraft meet rigorous safety standards. Regulatory bodies are also getting involved, helping to establish safety protocols for this new frontier of commercial space travel. Then there's the elephant in the room: cost. Right now, a trip to space will set you back millions of dollars, putting it well out of reach for most people. But there's hope on the horizon. Experts predict that as technology advances and competition heats up, prices could start to come down. Some analysts are even suggesting that within the next decade, we could see ticket prices drop to tens of thousands of dollars. It's still a lot of money, but it's a far cry from the millions it costs today. As we venture further into the cosmos, we're beginning to realize that our exploration of space isn't without consequences. The environmental impact of space exploration is becoming a growing concern, both here on Earth and in the vast expanse beyond our atmosphere. It's a complex issue that's raising some eyebrows in the scientific community and making us rethink how we approach our cosmic endeavors. One of the most immediate environmental concerns is the pollution caused by rocket launches. Every time we send a spacecraft hurtling into the sky, we're releasing a cocktail of chemicals into our atmosphere. These exhaust fumes aren't just your run-of-the-mill pollution, they contain substances that can actually damage our ozone layer. It's like we're punching temporary holes in Earth's protective shield every time we launch a rocket. This is particularly worrying when we consider the increasing frequency of launches as space becomes more accessible. But the environmental impact doesn't stop at our atmosphere. As we've expanded our presence in space, we've also been leaving behind a trail of debris. Thousands of pieces of space junk are now orbiting Earth, ranging from defunct satellites to tiny fragments of metal. This cosmic clutter isn't just an eyesore, it's a serious hazard for active satellites and spacecraft. Imagine trying to navigate through a field of high-speed projectiles, each capable of causing catastrophic damage. That's the reality for many of our space missions now. There's also a growing concern about planetary protection. As we set our sights on exploring other worlds, particularly Mars, we need to be careful not to contaminate these environments with Earth microbes. It's not just about keeping other planets pristine. It's about preserving the integrity of any potential discoveries we might make. If we accidentally bring Earth life to Mars, for example, how would we know if any microbes we find there are native Martians or just hitchhikers from Earth? However, it's not all doom and gloom. Space exploration has actually provided us with some powerful tools for understanding and protecting our own planet. Satellites orbiting Earth have revolutionized our ability to monitor environmental changes. They're keeping a watchful eye on everything from deforestation to climate change, giving us valuable data that helps inform environmental policies and conservation efforts. Moreover, some of the technologies developed for space exploration have found eco-friendly applications back on Earth. Solar panels, originally designed to power spacecraft, have become a cornerstone of renewable energy efforts. It's a great example of how the challenges of space exploration can drive innovation that benefits our planet. The potential for space mining is another interesting aspect to consider. While the idea of extracting resources from asteroids or other celestial bodies might sound like science fiction, it's becoming an increasingly realistic prospect. This could potentially reduce the need for environmentally damaging mining operations on Earth. However, it also raises new questions about the environmental impact of these activities in space. Scientists aren't sitting idle in the face of these challenges. There's ongoing research into developing greener rocket fuels that could reduce the environmental impact of launches. At the same time, various projects are exploring ways to clean up space debris, from nets and harpoons to catch space junk to lasers that could vaporize smaller pieces of debris. As we continue to push the boundaries of space exploration, balancing its benefits with its environmental impact will be crucial. We're at a crossroads where we need to make decisions that will shape the future of our planet and our presence in space. It's not just about reaching for the stars anymore. It's about doing so responsibly and sustainably. As we look towards the future of space exploration, we're on the verge of some truly incredible advancements that could change our understanding of the universe and our place in it. The possibilities are genuinely mind-blowing, and it's exciting to think about what might be just around the corner. One of the most ambitious goals on the horizon is the establishment of permanent human bases on the Moon and Mars. NASA's Artemis program is leading the charge with plans to build a lunar base near the south pole of the Moon. This isn't just about planting a flag and leaving footprints anymore. It's about creating a sustainable human presence off-world. For the first time in history, the lunar South Pole is particularly interesting because it might contain water ice in permanently shadowed craters, which could be a game changer for long-term habitation. But the Moon is just the beginning. Mars is the next big frontier, and we're already taking steps to get there. The red planet presents enormous challenges but also incredible opportunities. Imagine a future where humans aren't just visitors to other worlds, but permanent residents. It's a wild concept, but it's one that's getting closer to reality every day. While we're thinking about setting up shop on other planets, we're also looking at ways to utilize the resources space has to offer. Asteroid mining might sound like science fiction, but it's quickly becoming a serious consideration. These space rocks contain valuable metals like platinum and gold. and mining. Them could provide resources for both space missions and use back on Earth. It's a potential trillion-dollar industry that could revolutionize our economy and our approach to space exploration, but why stop at the inner solar system? Some experts are predicting that the next big discoveries in space exploration could come from missions to the moons of Jupiter or Saturn. Places like Europa and Enceladus are particularly exciting because they might harbor conditions suitable for life beneath their icy surfaces. These distant moons could potentially teach us more about the origins of life and whether we're alone in the universe. As we push further into the cosmos, our eyes are getting sharper too. The James Webb Space Telescope is expected to play a crucial role in the search for potentially habitable exoplanets. It's going to be analyzing the atmospheres of distant worlds, looking for biosignatures that could indicate the presence of life. This is groundbreaking stuff. We might soon be able to directly image Earth-like planets around other stars, giving us an unprecedented view of worlds beyond our solar system. Of course, getting to all these exciting places is going to require some major advancements in propulsion technology, and that's exactly what scientists and engineers are working on right now. We're seeing the development of ion engines which use electricity to ionize propellant for efficient thrust. And there's even research into nuclear pulse propulsion, which could theoretically reach speeds of up to 10% of the speed of light. That's fast enough to dramatically reduce travel times in space, potentially allowing us to reach distant destinations in a fraction of the time. It currently takes, but it's not just about getting there faster, it's also about exploring more efficiently. That's where artificial intelligence and robotics come in. Future missions might involve sending autonomous robotic probes to explore distant worlds. There are even concepts like von Neumann, probes that could replicate themselves, using local materials significantly increasing our exploration capabilities. Imagine swarms of small, smart robots exploring every nook and cranny of a distant planet or moon. It's a level of exploration we've never been able to achieve before. And then there are the really big dreams. Some scientists and visionaries are exploring ambitious projects like terraforming Mars or building massive space habitats. These are long-term goals that would require incredible advancements in technology and a deep understanding of planetary systems, but they represent the kind of bold thinking that has always driven space exploration forward. The Breakthrough Starshot Initiative is another example of this kind of ambitious thinking. They're working on a plan to send a probe to Alpha Centauri, our nearest stellar neighbor, using a light sail propelled by powerful ground-based lasers. This probe could potentially reach Alpha Centauri in just 20 years, traveling at speeds up to 20% of the speed of light. It's an audacious goal, but one that could revolutionize our understanding of nearby star systems. As we've journeyed through the history of space exploration, we've seen how far humanity has come since those first beeping signals from Sputnik. From the early days of satellite launches to the ambitious plans for Mars colonization, our quest to understand the cosmos has been relentless. But the journey is far from over. Today, space exploration isn't just about government agencies, it's also about private companies and international cooperation. Organizations like NASA and SpaceX are pushing the boundaries of what's possible, while initiatives like Breakthrough Listen invite public participation in the search for extraterrestrial life. The future of space exploration is filled with exciting possibilities, from establishing lunar bases to potentially finding life on distant exoplanets. As we continue to reach for the stars, who knows what new wonders and challenges await us in the vast expanse of space?